Hello, all my angels. Welcome back to my YouTube page. We are going to be listening to Sarah Boone testify on the stand today. And if you guys don't already know, there's been a lot going on with that woman so far. And yeah, just a lot going on. So yeah, we're gonna get started on here. And then yeah.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
So, welcome back, everyone. I'm going to be doing my face as we watch Sarah Boone and what she has to say on the stand. Now, I've shut down everything, but for some reason, my stuff is still not matching up with my face because it's at 720 instead of being at 1080. So I do apologize for that, but yeah, they're still on break right now. But she is going to be testifying, which to me, I feel like, oh, she might be off break now. To me, I feel like it's a bad deal, but no, they're still not in yet. I feel like it's a bad deal that she testifies, but because of the video of her telling her fiance, you know, well, it's your fault, blah, 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 you're stuck in here, whatever, you know, this is what you get for choking me, this is what you get for that, and then just going to sleep and leaving him in a suitcase, and then waking up and acting like she don't know what happened. That is ridiculous. So I'm going to go wash my face really quickly because I'm going to be putting on makeup as I do this. And we're going to do it on like this right here. Hey Lola, how are you? And I will be right back. As you see, I still got makeup on from yesterday, and it looks like they're going to be talking, so give me 1 second. Right now everything is quiet, so they're unhooking her, but we got it up. So let me go, hey SDA, let me go wash my face. I'll be right back.
We're back on the record. Case number 2020 CF 2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Let me get appearances for the state.
Dave Castro on behalf of the state. William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Ms. Boone.
Connie Henderson from Ms. Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table, wearing the same black jacket and blue blouse from this morning. We will be standing when our jury enters. She is in custody but out of any restraints. As she is testifying first, once we bring in our jury, she will walk to the jury box and be sworn in front of the jury. State, are we ready to bring in our panel?
Yes, Your Honor. I was able to get the redactions done. I put a disc on Mr. Owens' notebook there, has the case number on it and 3 black dots in Sharpie, just so that a random way of saying what it is.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thank you for getting that done over the lunch hour. Defense, are we ready to bring in our jury?
I've got a couple of issues.
Yes.
Number one, Kevin Beck is working on.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Beck has appeared.
For the record, I'd like to make 2 points about this issue, about whether or not I can bring in evidence of prior bad acts, prior to the overt act. And there's 2 reasons that I believe I should be allowed to do so. One is, Judge, in that 2-minute video, Sarah Boone makes a statement, "That's how I feel when you choke me." And then some moments later, "That's how I feel when you cheat on me." And she's angry at him, and she's talking to him. She's talking to him in an intoxicated state, and she's expressing her anger and why she is angry. And I ought to be able to elaborate on what that is that she's angry about as it relates to when you choke me. That's my first motion.
Okay.
The second one is, Judge, on this.
Before you proceed with the second, is the second intertwined with the first?
No, I mean, it's a similar argument, but related to something else.
Okay. Response.
Judge, I don't disagree that they should be able to bring that in once they've established an overt act that is imminently dangerous to an objectively reasonable person. I believe that's the law in our home.
Any other further arguments, sir?
Not on that issue.
Motion's denied. Court again is going to rely on the Supreme Court's guidance in these situations based on Holland 916-7-2nd-750 at point 760 through 761.
My second argument ties into what he just said about what a reasonable person would do under the circumstances facing an imminent threat, whether a reasonable person would perceive the overt act on the part of George Torres that was witnessed by Sarah Boone. Would that be perceived by someone as a imminent threat? And to some degree, you have to understand the history of George Torres and Sarah Boone. They were together 3.5 years. They were engaged, but there had been a history of violence. And from the evidence that's been presented, facing the circumstances in total, if you take what she said at various times, you would understand that she became concerned when he came back from Publix with that second bottle of wine, because she knew when George Torres gets to a certain level of intoxication, he gets sad, he gets moody, and eventually he gets belligerent, and sometimes he can be violent. So she knew when he brought home that second bottle of wine that it was not going to be a good night, and she tried to keep him occupied and tried to keep his mind off of his troubles, because she knew that if he reaches a certain level and is dwelling on his hardships, that he will react to her in a violent way. So she had that state of mind with that understanding of her history and his history in his overt act, which she's going to testify to, coupled with the fact of her state of mind based on her past experiences with him in that intoxicated state and the fact that he is violent. So she was hypersensitive to danger and fear. And I think that ought to be allowed in as part of her collectively an overt act. So it was culminated by his state of intoxication coupled with his overt act created the well-founded fear for her to block the attack, to self-restrain or physically restrain George Torres in the suitcase, to actually use the bat to prevent him from getting out of the suitcase because she knew she was going to get attacked.
And the basis of the opinion of about to be attacked is predicated on the prior incidences of violence, correct? Based on
Well, there's an overt
knowledge.
act committed by George Torres, but she was heightened because she knows when he gets to that level of intoxication in that scenario, and that's an issue.
So I need clarification. What is it that you're asking me to do?
For me to be able to elicit from Sarah Boone that she was concerned once that second bottle was brought, and that's why she tried to placate him over the course of the evening, and that's why she had a heightened sense that he was capable, Judge, due to his degree of intoxication, that he may act violently towards her. And the problem is, a lot of the problem is, Judge, he doesn't remember battering her the next day. That's part of the reason that she videotapes him and photographs him. She starts to document what happens so that she can show him. She loves the man. She adores the man. She wants to marry him. She wants a life with him. But she's tired of being beat on, and so that all ties into her behavior, her sense of nervousness at that point. The reason she was so confident during that 2-minute video is because she knew, okay, this is my chance. He can't get to me. I can tell him exactly what he does that bothers me, that hurts me, and how I feel. And so that's all tied together with then he starts to try to get out of the suitcase, and she reacts the way she does.
Response.
We held these arguments already. The court has ruled there are no new arguments being made. The court understands exactly what Sarah Boone, the defendant, said to Dr. Werner on October 2nd. The court knows exactly what the defendant said to Dr. Harper over the period of a number of months and years, and there was no overt act. The overt act has to be something that is objectively reasonable to cause a reasonable person to believe there's an imminent fear of great bodily harm or death. What the testimony is not that that's what has occurred, that there's her new testimony is this generalized fear, but you've already read that and you've already ruled on that. And I'll just remind the court that her previous testimony is, it's all fun and games, we're laughing, I zipped the suitcase shut, we're still both laughing, it's funny, and then the decedent says, I can't breathe, and then she flips a switch, gets angry because it reminds her of all the times before where she is asserting that the decedent made her feel like she couldn't breathe. And then that's when she starts beating and shuffling the suitcase so much that it flips over and hitting him with the bat. And we've covered this ground. Aggravated assault, aggravated battery, 2 independent forcible felonies. She's committing false imprisonment. She is the initial aggressor after there being no overt act. She can't start it and then say, well, I'm in fear of retaliation, because that's what her testimony was, is once I started doing these things, once I wouldn't let him out of the suitcase, I was afraid he would come out and harm me or kill me. Well, Judge, if I pull a gun on you and I say, give me everything you own on you right now, and then you in turn pull a gun on me and say, bam, 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 and shoot and kill me, and I shoot, let me strike that, you pull a gun on me to defend yourself, and then I shoot and kill you, I can't assert self-defense. I can't say, well, Judge Kranick pulled a gun on me and I was in fear of death, because I was the initial aggressor, I was committing a forcible felony. That's the facts of this case here, according to her previous testimony. And the state concedes if she wants to change her testimony again, that's one thing, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if she testifies as she previously has, the court has already ruled there's no overt act, and you've read the transcripts. You know what she has said.
Judge, she hasn't testified. She hasn't testified. Dr. Harper's testified. Dr. Warner's testified.
They have not testified. They've given depositions.
Well, given depositions, but she hasn't testified about the act in question. She hasn't testified about the event in question. She had consultations and evaluations by Dr. Harper where they had discussions that Dr. Harper could relate in her testimony. Dr. Warner can say what was said during the evaluation. Again, both of those were not reported. There may be disputes. I disagree with his characterization of that assessment. But it's up to Sarah to tell the truth here today. She's under oath. She's under oath today. She's got an obligation to tell the truth. If he thinks she's made prior inconsistent statements, it's up to him to impeach her with those inconsistent statements.
To the extent that you are requesting permission to go into presumably and seemingly prior bad acts, vis-a-vis, he got the wine, and I know what happens when he gets it, and everything that follows from that, those are bad acts. That is character. And the Florida Supreme Court has provided guidance and circumstances, specifically in Holland, on what needs to be done. You're attempting to provide information that the defendant was apprehensive of the victim at the time of the homicide by virtue of the wine, etc., as you've proffered. That's bad character evidence that you're going to be bringing in. Historic bad character evidence. This is what happens when he drinks. This is what happens when I don't placate him. This is the situation that I find myself in, which inevitably may dovetail into prior incidents of abuse. That's all prohibited character under 9404. And the carve out for that is if a overt act is established. It's not a subjective standard, it's an objective standard. The jury instruction, 3.6F, identifies it being an objective standard, and the Akendo case specifically tells us that it's an objective standard. And Akendo, the second DCA in 2023 stated, the conduct of a person acting in self-defense is measured by an objective standard, but the standard must be applied to the facts and circumstances as they appeared at the time of the altercation to the one acting in self-defense. I'm going to rely on Holland. Holland is the law of the land. It is what the Supreme Court has told us to utilize. That's what I will be relying on. The overt act has to be established.
Ms. Boone, do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Anything else?
We cannot talk about any prior bad acts or anything of that nature until we talk about the actual event, the attack. Correct? You understand?
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, State?
Nothing.
Defense, anything else, sir?
No, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and stand and bring in our jury.
Jury entering.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury? All right, thank you. Y'all can be seated. Members of the jury, after seated and comfortable, if you could raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions during the break. Record reflect all hands have been raised. With that, state has rested. The defense is going to put on a case. Defense, Mr. Owens, you can call your first witness.
The defense would call Sarah Boone.
Raise your right hand, please. Sworn, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, ma'am, you can take a seat. And if you could, state and spell your name for the record for us.
Sarah Boone, 101077.
And could you spell your name?
SARAHBOONE.
All right, thank you very much. Sir, you may inquire.
Ms. Boone, would you please tell the jury where you were born and raised?
Atlanta, Georgia.
You were born in Atlanta?
I was born in Atlanta.
And how long did you stay in Atlanta before you moved here to Florida?
I was 3 years old, 3 or 4.
Okay. And from that time, y'all moved, you and your family, your mother and father, moved to Orlando?
And my grandparents.
Okay. Y'all all moved down from Atlanta down to Orlando?
Yes, and my 2 brothers.
Okay. And were you raised here essentially from that time on?
Yes.
And you resided here in Orange County, Florida that entire time?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you go to high school here locally?
I did.
Where did you go to high school?
Edgewater.
Okay. And tell the jury, how old were you when you graduated?
I was 18 years old.
Now, I know you lost your mother and father.
Overruled.
I know you lost your mother and father in your teens and in your 20s. Is that true?
I lost my grandfather when I was a sophomore in high school, and I lost my father when I was a senior. And then my mother passed away a few years after that, and then my grandmother passed away after my mother died.
Right, so you were in your 20s when all that was going on?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point in your 20s you met Brian Boone?
I did, yes.
All right. And how long did y'all date before you married?
A good handful of years. I helped my family with paying mortgage and bills for the house since my father had passed away and my grandfather. So
you worked outside the home?
I did.
Okay. Can you tell the jury when you said you and Brian Boone dated for a while? Do you remember when y'all married?
I do.
Could you tell the jury when y'all were married?
The year?
Yeah. Do you remember the date?
It happened to be, yes, that after my mother passed away, that he had waited to ask me to marry him because he knew it would be.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Just answer the question if you can, Miss Boone. Are you a little bit nervous?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, just tell the jury if you remember the date that you and Brian Boone married.
August 21st, 2004.
Okay. And had y'all lived with each other for a short time before that?
Short time.
Yes. Okay. After you married, how long was it before y'all had any children?
Gosh, 6 years?
Okay. And y'all have one son.
Yes.
What's his name?
Lucas.
And how old is Lucas now?
Lucas will be 14 years old on the 28th.
28th of this month?
Yes.
Okay. So you and Brian were married and y'all lived in Orange County. How long were y'all married?
For 13 years.
All right. And y'all divorced?
Yes.
And as part of the divorce, were y'all to share custody of your son?
Yes.
And so y'all would split days? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. At some time after you and Brian split up, did you meet George Torres?
Yes.
All right. Could you tell the jury how you met George Torres?
I met George when I decided to buck up, I guess, and was tired of trying to patch things up with my ex-husband. And I decided to go one day for a walk across the street and go have a beer by myself and sit and people watch just to get out of my house and a change of scenery.
All right. Now, is this your apartment?
No, this is the marital home.
Okay. Where is that marital home?
Winter Park?
You're no longer living in that marital home?
No.
Who lives in the marital home?
No one. It has been sold.
Okay. So you met George Torres before you got the apartment?
Yes.
Okay. And you met him at a bar across the street from the marital home?
Yes, we had a mutual friend there.
Were you introduced?
Yes.
All right. How did you and George get along when y'all first met?
Very well. It was It was strange how quickly we hit things off and had so much in common, and
I can't believe she could.
I never thought that he would be interested in someone like me, and I just couldn't believe that he was actually interested in me and said a lot of nice things, and 1 hour ended up being 4 hours from when we had first met, and then we would always have something to talk about.
Why couldn't you believe that he would be interested in you?
He was very handsome. He was very funny. He was smart, and I would show up in workout clothes and disheveled hair, and I guess I kind of felt broken from being in the process of the divorce that he knew about. But then one of the things that we could relate also was the fact that he was here in Florida because he had just been divorced from his second wife. So that was another topic that he and I could compare notes on.
So eventually the divorce was settled. Did you get your own place?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that after at first you lived in your parents' home, correct?
Yes, until I was married.
And then you moved directly in with Brian,
Yes.
and then y'all lived in the marital home, correct?
Yes.
And then you got this apartment.
Yes.
So that was the first time in your life that you actually had your own place.
Yes.
And what was the address?
4748 France Court, apartment number 3.
And what city is that in?
It's in Winter Park.
How far is that from here?
20 minutes?
Okay. So you got that apartment, and initially were you by yourself?
No.
All right, tell the jury.
In the almost year, about 10 months of separation from Brian, my ex-husband, that is the time when I met George. And my ex-husband was trying to buy me out or force me out of our marital home, and I needed to find somewhere to live. And
So did you and George agree to rent the apartment?
yes, I needed extra income. We could not afford it just on my own.
You were receiving some income from the marriage settlement, were you not?
Yes.
So you did have consistent monthly income coming in from the marriage settlement,
For the most part, yes.
but you needed more to live.
Yes, to pay the bills and for rent.
So did you and George have some agreement?
We did.
All right, what was the agreement?
The agreement was that if I decided for he and I to live with one another, because it would be under my name, that he would help with the monthly bills and on a regular basis where it wouldn't be something that I would have to argue with him about. It would just be an automatic. Make sure that everything's paid first, and then from there, hopefully have some fun with it.
Okay. And so I understand from that point on, would it be fair to say that y'all saw each other on and off for about the next 3.5 years?
No. I would consider us a couple.
Okay.
At some point, he asked me to marry him.
Okay. But y'all did have times where he left and went to live with his parents.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
And there were times where there was an understanding that y'all were going to break up.
Multiple times.
Okay. All right. So, again, on again, off again.
Yes. This was actually before we had our apartment. That was, I guess, our dating phase.
Okay. So y'all were together for 3.5 years. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And y'all had actually agreed to marry?
He had asked me, yes, a couple of times to marry him, and one time I agreed to yes.
Okay. Now, I want to get directly to the date of this event so that the jury can hear your testimony. All right. So tell us, I believe the date is February the 23rd of 2020. Explain to the jury that whole day, from the time y'all got up, the whole thing.
Approach.
I wonder what she thinks is so funny.
Objection's overruled for now.
Now, Ms. Boone, let's just, instead of one long speech, let me break you up over the course of the day. So, do you remember the date of February 23rd, 2020?
Yes.
Do you remember getting up?
Yes.
All right, just tell the jury about that morning. What y'all did that morning. What you and George spent the night together at the apartment.
Yes, at that point he was living there.
Yes. So y'all slept in the bed together, upstairs, February. So y'all would have gotten up that morning, February 23rd of 2020.
Yes.
All right, tell the jury what happened when y'all got up.
He was already downstairs, and I went downstairs, and he wanted to start the day off by drinking because it was a day off from his job. And I talked him into cleaning and tidying up the house for a sense of accomplishment. So that is what we did for however long that it took. So we did tidy up the house and got everything in order, and it was kind of a reward, I guess, to be able to sit and enjoy ourselves and sit on the back porch.
All right, what do you mean by cleaning up the house? What did y'all do?
We swept and mopped. We folded some of the laundry. I know that we did the dishes, emptied the dishwasher, just general run-of-the-mill tidying up.
And did you have your son coming the next day?
Yes, that was one of the reasons why we were able to do that.
What was the arrangement you had in terms of the next day would have been your day to pick up your son from school?
Yes.
What time would you pick Lucas up from school the next day?
I believe his school ended at 3 o'clock.
Okay. So you would have been responsible to pick him up, and he would be spending the night with you that night?
Yes.
So you wanted to have the house nice and clean?
Yes.
How many bedrooms are in the home?
2.
And you and George had one bedroom?
Yes.
And who had the other?
Lucas.
All right. Is that exclusively his bedroom?
Yes.
All right. So how long would it have taken y'all that morning to clean?
I don't really remember what time we woke up, but maybe a good 2, maybe 3 hours.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that you and George both smoked cigarettes?
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that you and George both drink alcohol?
Yes.
All right. So at some point, y'all finished your chores,
Yes.
right? And then y'all were going to enjoy the day.
Yes.
All right. What was the plan?
It was just kind of, we've got the day to ourselves. Let's just kind of relax and go with the flow.
All right. Did y'all make a decision that y'all were going to start drinking?
Yes, we had a half of a bottle that was already in the refrigerator, and I did not want to go out afterwards. I, again, had Lucas coming the next day, so we went over to Publix to purchase another bottle of wine so we could not have to go out later on that evening.
Now, you were here in court when the state played the video of you two and the Publix purchasing the bottle of wine?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to here with the jury right now?
Yes.
Okay. And that was around noonish?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Had y'all started drinking the leftover bottle before going to the Publix?
No.
Okay. So, y'all bought a bottle of wine?
Yes.
All right. And how did y'all get to Publix?
My car.
How far is Publix from your apartment?
5 minutes.
How would you get there from your apartment?
What do you mean?
Did you have to go across any major highways, or is it right there?
You just come out of our apartment complex and you do a little U-turn and then you come up and it's right in that complex.
Okay. But it's easier to drive than to walk?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know at some times y'all would simply need cigarettes and it was in walking distance. Can you tell the jury about that?
Yes, there was a AutoZone convenience store with, in the same, I guess, parking lot of our townhome, our complex, and it was just a straight shot from our apartment to a back gate, and you could get right into the convenience store from right there.
Okay. But y'all went over to get that bottle of wine around noonish, and how did y'all, you took your car?
Yes,
Did George have a vehicle?
we did not,
And how did you pay for the wine?
with my debit card.
And then y'all came back and started drinking?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you did when you got back from the Publix.
Just went on the back porch where we usually spend our time because we're able to smoke cigarettes outside as opposed to inside. And
Is cigarette smoking not allowed indoors?
it is not.
Okay. Do you have pets?
Yes, I do.
Well, did you have pets?
I did, yes.
Okay. Were they with y'all there that day?
Yes, my dogs were with me all the time when I was there.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 2,
And just what are their names?
Penny and Tess.
And what is the breed?
They are red Boston Terriers.
And are they both disabled?
Yes, Penny is blind and Tess is deaf.
So when y'all went out to smoke on the back porch and drink, I assume, as well, correct?
Yes.
Do y'all take the dogs out?
Oh, yes.
All right. Is there a place for them to do their business out there?
Yes, I extended our back porch for them to have a little bit of area as opposed to going from a large backyard from my marital home to our little townhome. And they would come out there and do their business, and I could sometimes I would open the gate and then walk them in the back part of our apartment.
So you and George were just going to enjoy the day together?
Correct.
Is it fair to say y'all don't have a lot of money?
Yes.
And so y'all were going to do something there in the home? Y'all weren't going out for dinner or...
Yes, we primarily, I would consider us homebodies as opposed to going out and partying and doing this and that.
Okay. And how long do you think y'all were out that afternoon outside?
A few hours.
All right. Could you tell the jury what y'all did during that time?
We have a dartboard that's out there, and we just had drinks, and we're just really enjoying each other's company and talking about, things upcoming. We both were looking for a job and just kind of, I guess, encouraging and supporting and planning. And
Well, now you said he had a job. Was he looking for a job, a second job?
no, the job that he had was very unstable, and at that,
So he was looking for something new.
yes, at that time, yes.
Okay. And so during that 2 or 3 hours, would it be fair to say that y'all drank the bottle?
Yes,
Okay. So would it be fair to say that y'all were feeling the effects of the alcohol?
yes,
Okay. At some point, who made the decision to come in?
I did.
Okay. Why did you want to come in?
I felt that George needed a change of scenery.
Okay. So y'all came in, and then did y'all do anything else before he left again? Were y'all doing anything? I know y'all did some arts and crafts. What did y'all do? At some point, he went to get another bottle at Publix.
Yes, I believe it was after it was right before, I believe, that we had gone inside, because he called his daughters. I was trying to encourage him to call his family.
Okay, now where are his daughters?
His 2 daughters are located in Pennsylvania,
And what are their names?
Anna and Destiny.
And how old are they?
I believe that Anna is in her 30s, and Destiny may be in her early 20s.
All right. Does he have any more children?
Yes, he has a son.
And where does his son?
He is in Pennsylvania also.
Okay. So part of that afternoon is y'all came in to call relatives, call family.
No, I had him call outside, just trying to, I guess, boost the mood. And the first daughter didn't answer, and I don't remember the reason I didn't speak to the second one. I believe he did. It was just for a moment.
All right, now whose phone were y'all using?
My phone.
All right. And is that common for y'all to use that, for y'all to share that phone?
It was, because George said that he didn't have a phone, so it would either be lost or given to him by his mother. So I didn't know he had a cell phone, so we would use my phone.
So it was primarily your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And you took a lot of photographs that were on that phone?
Yes.
Videotapes? Text messages?
Yes.
Phone call?
Yes, he and I both on the phone calls.
So he would use it as well?
Yes.
And that phone, is that the one that was seized in this case?
Yes.
All right, so y'all called his daughters, and then during that phone call period, did y'all also call his brother?
Yes.
Okay, and which brother was that?
John.
All right, now, how many brothers and sisters does George have?
I'm going to list them if that's okay.
Okay.
It's John, Pharrell, Isaac, Mo, and his sister.
Okay. And do they all live here in Florida?
Yes.
Are they close by?
As far as I know, yes.
What about his parents?
Yes.
They live here as well?
Yes.
Okay. But his ex-wives and his children live up in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. So you called the girls, then you called, or George called his brother.
Yes.
Was that conversation that long?
No, it was not.
Okay. And then after that phone call, were y'all inside by this time?
Yes, at this point, I believe that it was a good time to get a change of scenery. So I thought George would be better off inside, and frankly, I didn't want to be outside any longer either.
Okay. So just to get an idea, about this time is when he went to get the second bottle, or did y'all stay inside for a while before he left?
No, from what I recall, I thought the day was over, and it was going to be get ready for the evening, for the day, what do you want for dinner, do you have an extra load of laundry that you need to throw in, kind of thing, and that was my understanding. And
This was about 5-ish or something?
I don't remember the time.
Okay. At some point during that time period, did George go to Publix again?
Yes, I thought he was going to be walking to the convenience store, but apparently when he returned, he had gone across the street with my car and my debit card to buy another bottle of wine.
What was your understanding of where he was going?
To the convenience store, walking.
For what?
Cigarettes.
Okay. And you learned obviously that he came back, and you learned that he'd used your vehicle?
Yes.
And he'd used your debit card?
Yes.
And he'd brought back a bottle of wine from Publix?
Right.
And you saw the Publix video of that?
Yes.
So he comes back with the other bottle of wine, and did he want you to drink with him?
It was expected, yes.
Yes. And you agreed to consume the second bottle with him?
Yes.
Okay. So over the course of that evening, drinking the wine, what did y'all do for time-wise? Watch a movie, music? Just kind of tell the jury what you remember. I know it's obviously been a while, but...
It was kind of a regular thing where I would always try to come up with entertaining activities for George, and I bought a puzzle. We started off at one point doing a smaller puzzle, and then we did that very quickly, so then I purchased a larger puzzle, and I believe it was 1,000 pieces. So I thought, to get his mind off of things and to focus on something, it would be smart for us to do the puzzle. So for however long that took, we finished the puzzle. So that was one.
Did you every piece was finished, or was it?
Every piece was finished. It was strange that we couldn't find one piece, and we thought it was funny that it was like in like the perfect place on there. But yes, every one but one piece.
All right, after the puzzle, what did y'all do?
I decided to continue to maintain and focus him, and I have a bunch of paints that I use. Pencils, paint, any kind of, and my home, and then also some of George's, yes, on the wall.
Was he pretty good at art as well?
Yes,
All right, so you both enjoyed doing that.
very much.
So y'all got out Lucas's art set. What did y'all do with that?
We were just, I guess, doodling, whatever. I would always tell him that everything that you make is a masterpiece. So just let loose and just let it go. And we would just paint and
drink.
Paint and drink, yes, and listen to music sometimes, and yes.
Okay. Now, with the dogs, did y'all get the dogs involved?
Oh yes, my dogs follow me everywhere, yes.
Was there some dancing going on with the dogs?
Yes, after we had completed the puzzle and I guess we're painted out, I thought that it might be a good point for us to maybe listen to some music. And the music that George listens to is it's very fractious to me, and it was definitely not going to lighten the mood, so we ended up finding some channel on the radio, and he was feeling it, and then we ended up, my one dog gets very active and was dancing with us, and we were just having a good time listening to music.
Okay. And I guess it's getting pretty late in the evening.
Yes.
Anything else I've missed?
I don't believe so.
All right. So tell us where y'all ended up before you started the game of hide and seek.
We were there. I couldn't think of anything else possibly that I had to continue entertainment. But I remember sitting at the end of the couch and him sitting in one of my son's chairs that was in the living room, and just kind of doing this. Like, what are we going to do now? Like, I very much would like to go to sleep.
Had y'all finished off the that bottle that he had bought?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Bless you.
Would it be fair to say that as the day wore on, the more y'all consumed?
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that as the day wore on, the more you consumed, the more effects you felt from the alcohol?
Of course, yes.
Both of you?
Yes.
Okay. So you would agree, would you not, that at the time y'all were trying to figure out something to do and you put your head down on the couch, that would it be fair to say that y'all were intoxicated?
Yes.
Tell the jury what happened.
At one point, I guess he knew that I couldn't come up with anything else, tapped me on my knee and said, "You're it." So from there, I ran up the stairs and hid into our shower, just waiting for him to find me so we could hopefully go to sleep soon at some point. And
your shower, is it a tub or just a walk-in?
it's a tub, but it's in the master bedroom, and you have to go all the way upstairs, you have to go in the bedroom, and then you have to go into the bathroom part, and then there's the shower part.
So did you lay down in the tub?
At one point, yes, I was.
Okay. So you were hiding?
I was trying.
Okay. And did you believe that he was going to come try to find you?
Yes.
Did you wait?
Yes, for quite some time.
All right. Then what did you decide to do?
that I decided that I need to go to sleep. I'm picking my son up the next day, and we need to start wrapping up the evening. And I went downstairs to find where he was.
And what, I think the jury has seen pictures of your, would you call it an apartment or
It's considered a townhome.
a townhome? So you walk down the stairs, right? Mm-hmm. And at the bottom of the stairs is a bookshelf here?
Yes, at the very end of it, yes.
Okay. So you walk down the stairs and you turn and look in the living room. What did you see?
I don't even think I made it all the way down the stairwell because I was just looking for him as soon as I could to hopefully go upstairs as soon as we could. And I looked over and I saw him settling himself in the suitcase.
All right, tell us about the suitcase. How long, is it an older suitcase?
Yes.
Whose suitcase was it?
This is George's suitcase.
All right, and did he use it for traveling back and forth to Philly?
Yes, I had recently taken him on a trip to go see his children in Pennsylvania, who he hasn't seen in years, and we took that with us. And because of how dilapidated it was, how broken it was, in the end, after that trip, we decided that we would donate it.
All right, and I understand y'all kept the suitcase upstairs.
Yes,
How long did y'all keep it upstairs?
since we had moved in.
Is there a closet up there you kept it in?
Yes, it was in the master closet, the master bedroom closet, all the way in the back because of the size of it, and there were hooded, so it's all the way in the back.
So when did y'all decide to move it down from upstairs to downstairs? Was it that day or sometime earlier?
No, it was maybe a week or so prior.
Okay. And so what, y'all were going to donate that to Goodwill or?
Yes, we were going to do, I guess, a spring cleaning. Anyone who has children understands that they grow quickly, and there was a lot of clothes that I needed to go through of my sons, and then also from George and I moving in and just kind of putting everything in there, at one point where we just needed to actually go through it and organize it and get things more in order.
So is that the reason it was downstairs? You were going to donate it and a bunch of things that you were going to put inside of it?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So it had been down there a week, so it was already down there?
Yes, George brought it down.
Okay. So you said that you got down there, you're looking for him, you see him settling into the suitcase.
Yes.
What did you do?
In my head, I said, oh man, we're obviously not going to be going to sleep anytime soon. And I walked over and he was trying to get himself flat, so I couldn't tell that he was in there. And then...
Now let me stop you there. The suitcase, is it the suitcase over here in the...
Yes.
In the box? You've seen it?
Oh,
You saw
Lord,
it?
they have it in there?
It's a pretty big suitcase.
Yes.
How big is George?
George was my height. And
How tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
Okay. And how much did George weigh?
Hang on.
I thought it was 100 pounds.
Okay. And how much did you weigh?
I was 98 pounds.
All right. Do you agree you put on some weight?
Since I've been incarcerated, yes.
Well, at the time, though, y'all were pretty skinny.
Yes.
So from the pictures, it looks like y'all were both pretty thin.
Yes.
All right. So because of his thinness, is that how? And he's a small man.
Yes.
Okay. So he was able to get in the suitcase on his own.
Yes.
Did he willingly get in the suitcase?
He was already in there.
Okay. When you got to him, did he see you?
Yes.
All right. Tell us what happened.
I just I zipped him up. We thought it was funny, and we're joking about how he was, I guess, small enough to fit inside of the suitcase.
All right. So what happened then?
From there, it was just, we were laughing about it, and it was just strange that he was small enough to fit in there, and then I kind of moved it around a little bit with him in the suitcase still, it was still funny that he was still in the suitcase. Just, I think he and I were just kind of, couldn't believe that he could fit in the suitcase.
Did you eventually close the top?
Yes, in order for, well, the top was already closed. As he was settling himself in there, that's how I knew he was in there, was because the top was kind of flopping a little bit.
So he had gotten in there to hide, and he pulled the top
Yes,
on top of it. But you could tell he was in there.
yes,
You saw him right away.
yes,
All right. So at some point, did you zip him up?
yes.
Did you? And what was he saying or doing when you were zipping him up?
I just thought it was funny.
Were you both laughing?
Yes,
And so you zipped him up. Were y'all still laughing once you zipped him up?
yes.
Okay. Tell the jury what happened then.
From there, I moved the suitcase around a couple of times, just kind of on the wheels, and moved it around. And at that point, it was funny. We were joking and laughing about it.
All right, now eventually, did you go sit down on the couch and get your phone?
Yes.
Did I miss something?
Well, the suitcase had, from me moving it around, was flopped over. So while it was like that, I thought at that point I had a moment to, I guess, take the time to talk to him while I guess he was not able to get out for a moment.
So you flipped it.
A moment.
You got it on the top, right?
Yeah.
It gets in, but at some point you flip it over so the zipper is on the bottom.
Well, it was just kind of how I was moving it around that it ended up kind of flopping, so,
It was upside down.
yes.
So after you did that, what did you do?
That's when I went over and decided to videotape to just see the, I guess, the gist in it, for him to understand that right now I feel safe, and right now I have the ability to actually speak to you in a manner that normally I would not have the ability to do.
And you were intoxicated,
Yes.
and you would agree that you said some things you should not,
Yes.
right? But you realized he could not get out and get at you. Is that fair?
At that moment, yes.
So it goes on for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
You heard it here today, did you not?
Yes.
You heard his voice as he was speaking from the suitcase.
Yes.
That was his voice on the video and audio.
Yes.
And you heard your voice on the video and audio.
Yes.
That was your voice.
Yes.
All those things said by the man were said by George in that video.
Correct.
All the words said by the female were said by you in that 2-minute video.
Correct.
Were you intending on showing him the video the next day?
Yes.
At the time, or the next day, is it fair to say you don't even remember videotaping?
I do not.
So, from what you can tell from watching it, did that refresh your memory about that event?
It did.
Why did you say all that?
Curious, do you have it for like that for so people can see you, or for the holidays? I still can't believe what she's doing here. I really. She's smiling. She's like, I don't know. I can't believe it. She should have took the plea deal. She would have been out. they'd have been done with her. It had been over. Dumb, if you ask me. I would have took the plea deal because she's already been in jail almost 4 years. So if she would have took the plea deal, she would have been out in probably 2. That's just dumb. So here's me covering up all of my tattoo eyeliner that I now have to do. That sucks. This is why I said don't get your eyeliner tattoo.
Mr. Owens, you may proceed.
Don't regret it.
All right, I'm talking about just the 2-minute video part that was recorded. Could you just tell the jury what you were feeling, what your feelings were at the time, and then explain that to the jury? You mentioned, you talked about it before. You said he was in that confined space and it was my chance, but do you want to elaborate on that? Or?
Sure. I want you all to know that the majority of the time, am always afraid and always scared.
All right, well, I understand.
Syndrome,
Yeah,
liar.
I understand that. But would it be fair to say that you had some anger at that point?
I did.
Would it be fair to say that you wanted to tell him off to some degree?
I just wanted, yes, for him to have a better understanding, which was the whole point of the videos and documentation prior.
And you could tell that he was uncomfortable.
I'm guessing.
And did you want him to feel some uncomfort?
I did.
Okay. Now, at some point, you turned off the video.
Yes.
And then we saw a second video, which was approximately 11 minutes later. And you've seen that video that was played to the jury. It was 22 seconds long.
Yes.
And I don't think you speak in that video. You hear George say Sarah one time.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So between the 2-minute video and the 22-second video is an 11-minute period. Would you tell the jury what happened?
We continued to, I guess, speak to one another, and his tone changed, and I knew the tone, and we ended up, I guess, arguing back and forth with one another, and it was the things that he was saying very much frightened me, and cursing at me and threatening me. And
did he want you to let him out of the suitcase?
I'm sure so.
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
And it just got very heated very quickly, and he continued to push on the suitcase, and my fear was that he was going to break out of the suitcase knowing that it was a broken suitcase. And his hand started to come through, his hand started to come through this way. And so I shook the suitcase, trying to get his hand to go back in, shaking it, and telling him that, please stop doing this, please stop doing this to me, please stop doing this to me.
So his hand actually got out of the suitcase?
Yes.
And you went to the suitcase?
Yes.
And shook it?
Yes.
Did that force his hand to go back in?
No.
So you're shaking it. Were you shaking it to try to get the suitcase, his hand back in?
Yes.
How long did you shake it?
I don't know.
But his hand was still out?
Yes.
It out.
Forcefully, yes.
Was he angry at you? Were you in fear?
Always.
If he would have gotten out of the suitcase, what would he have done to you?
Like he used to tell me, he probably would have made me unrecognizable, or I would have lost my life.
Did you lose the grip on the suitcase?
Yes.
Where was the bat in relation to the suitcase?
It was leaning up against the dining room table, right there.
How far was the bat from the suitcase?
3 feet, 2 feet.
Was his hand still out of the suitcase?
Yes.
And was he getting out of the suitcase?
He very much was trying, yes.
And so what did you do?
For the split-second reaction that I had, I happened to see that, and I grabbed the baseball bat and was trying to poke his hand to go back in to please don't break through, please. So I hit his hand.
Did you hit the outside part of his hand?
Yes.
We've seen the photographs of his left hand. Did you cause the bruising there?
I'm guessing yes.
Now, you've seen the bat. It's a youth bat.
Yes, I bought it for my son.
Is this the bat you used?
Yes.
And you said you poked him with it?
Yes, I kind of pushed, like I held it with the skinny part here and then
So the grip here,
prodded at it, yes.
you grabbed it with both hands here,
Yes,
and then the barrel of the bat, the big part of the bat is here.
correct.
And you thrusted it into the different areas of the suitcase?
I started with his hand, and his hand, he was still trying to get out. He was still trying to do that. So I started to push on the suitcase around it, hoping to have his hand retract and go back inside.
You made those injuries.
I did,
We've seen the photographs.
yes,
We see the bruising. Is that from that bat?
yes.
Eventually, did his hand go back inside from you doing?
Yes, finally, he had subsided and retracted his hand.
So in your mind, did you prevent him from attacking you?
Absolutely. Split-second decision.
Now, once he retracted his hand, do you remember zipping it up some? Or what did you do in relation? Because he was upside down, was he not, at that point?
Yes,
At some point, you flipped him back up.
I did.
Tell how that happened.
He wasn't cursing, he wasn't threatening, his hand was inside foremost. There was no more of him trying to break through the suitcase. So I felt safe enough to turn it back over. It wasn't happening anymore.
You went back to the video and the couch,
I did, yes.
and we saw the second video,
Yes,
the 22-second, and he's right side up again,
yes,
and you hear him say, "Sarah."
yes.
Had you left enough room for him to get out? Zipper to zipper.
Yes, that's how his hand was trying.
That suitcase has two zippers, doesn't it? And they meet at various places along the line?
Correct.
How much room, when you flipped it over, how much room was between zipper to zipper?
I don't know specifically. I mean, it was enough to where his hand was coming out.
After you had hit him with the bat, was he not trying to get out anymore?
No.
Did you believe that he could breathe in there?
Yes.
Did you ever believe he could die in there?
No. At all.
Were you trying to kill him?
Never.
Did you want to kill him?
I did not.
Did you walk upstairs?
I did, yes.
Why didn't you let him out before you walked upstairs? Were you afraid?
Terrified is more of the word.
As long as he was in the suitcase, he couldn't harm you.
Correct.
When he's...
I don't know about all of you, but I'm like, bullshit.
Did you want him to calm down?
Yes, I wanted him to stop being angry because I know what it is for him to be angry.
You went upstairs. Where were the dogs?
The dogs ran upstairs with me.
And where did they go?
On the bed.
Did you have the phone with you?
Yes,
I know at some point you called your husband Brian, did you not?
I did.
Do you recall how long that conversation was?
Not very long.
Can you recall what was said?
I don't remember exactly. No, I don't.
Miss Boone, Sarah Boone, you said that when he was in the suitcase, he was threatening her, threatening you. Can you tell the jury what he was saying?
I don't know. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes.
But he was going to fucking end me. And that's what made me ask him please to stop doing what he's doing to me. That he was going to, I'm guessing, try his best that night to probably take my life.
But what the threat you heard was he's
going to
say the
fucking
word.
end me.
Excuse me?
Fucking end me.
End you?
Yes.
One more.
Yes, sir.
Judge, can we approach your bench?
Yes.
I don't even know what to think about all this. What do you all think about it? That he was just going to end her. I think he just wanted out of the damn suitcase, and she knew for a fact he couldn't breathe because he kept saying he couldn't breathe. Such bull crap, man. Mm-mm. They're sitting there going, what should we sit? What should we do? What do we do now? What's next? What can we ask? What can we not ask?
All right, members of the jury, it is 2:14. I have a matter that I have to discuss with counsel at this point in time outside of your presence. So I'm going to ask you to retire to the deliberation room. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Again, similar instruction that I've given you. Please do not conduct any independent investigation or research as the person, places, things, or charge involved, and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else about those things. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you.
Jury,
may be seated. Thank you. State, you can proceed with any argument at this point in time.
Judge, I believe that's pretty close to what we already knew from the deposition testimony, from the doctors relaying what she said for the proffer. What we have here is testimony from the defendant. Her timeline is she comes downstairs after having gone up to the shower and hiding, laying down, after being declared to be it. She comes back downstairs, and before she gets back to the bottom of the stairwell, she can see that the victim is in the suitcase trying to get flat because the lid is flopping and he's not hidden just yet. And so she comes over, and I believe she testified she was moving it around before actually zipping the lid shut, but moving it around, everybody's laughing, it's all fun and games still, and then she zips it, and it's still fun and games, and everybody's laughing, and then at this point she testifies that this is now her opportunity to get on her pulpit to express her true feelings about everything. And that's when she sits down on the couch and opens up her device and begins recording what later turns out to be IMG _1062.movie at 11:12:45 for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. During this period of time, the decedent is expressing meekly that he can't breathe. The only time he ever curses at her is, "Sarah, I can't fucking breathe. Babe, I can't fucking breathe." He is demonstrating under the law that he is in fear of losing his life. She has committed an aggravated assault. She has committed false imprisonment. She was the initial aggressor. There was no overt act to justify these actions that she took against her boyfriend. She then goes on to say that during this period of time between the end of the movie at 11:14:48 seconds and before the next one starts at 11:23, that it's now at this time, while he's still constrained and clearly unable to get out under his own power despite having his hand out, she begins beating him with a bat, poking his hands, poking the suitcase with a deadly weapon. A bat is used for baseball, but it can also be used to harm another person. And according to the medical examiner's testimony, there was great harm caused to him, deep ecchymosis bruises. She can't start to do this out of fear, like the analogy I gave earlier. If I pull a gun to rob you, Judge, and you pull a gun, I can't shoot you in self-defense. She started this. She started this. There was no overt act, and therefore we're asking for you to prevent, under the case law, any prior instances of violence, any reputation evidence, and any battered spouse syndrome evidence, because that's simply just what the case ended up being.
Thank you. Response.
I agree 100% with that attorney.
Judge, this was a game by two intoxicated people. When people are drunk and intoxicated, they do silly and stupid things. The evidence is uncontroverted that George Torres willingly, by his own choice, elected to hide in the suitcase. By their interaction between the two of them, giggling and laughing at each other, he consented to her zipping up the suitcase. And the playful nature of what was going on during those few minutes prior to the video. When the video is turned on, there's a 2-minute period where they're talking. He's saying, "I need to get out, I can't breathe." She's not taking him seriously. As you've seen from the videos, I thought it was the boy crying wolf. She did not appreciate the fact that he could be actually having trouble breathing. And this was a chance for him to be heard by her about how she felt about some things involving their relationship. A short time later, the video was turned off, and then that period has been testified to by my client. And that period is uncontroverted. That's a second period of time. We've got that time for the video. We got the 11 minutes. We got the 22 seconds. And there's no video, there's no audio, there's no eyewitness, there's nothing but Sarah Boone's testimony. And she's testified here today that they had words, there were threats, he got his hand out of the suitcase. She knew by the threats and him getting his hand out of the suitcase that he was about to get out of the suitcase and he was going to hurt her. A reasonable person under that scenario would believe she was about to be harmed. She was an imminent threat of harm. She blocked that attack by grabbing the bat, hitting his hand. When that didn't work, she started poking him with the bat and the suitcase. Eventually, she poked him several times. He put his hand inside the suitcase. She put the bat up. When she realized he was not going to do that any further, she flipped him over right side up. She still had a fear, knowing that if he got out, she would be harmed. He would beat her up. She went upstairs. That is an overt act based on the discussions, coupled with the fact that he threatened her, using the word, "I'm going to fucking end it for you," or some words to that effect. I don't remember her exact words, just before she went upstairs while he was still in the suitcase. If she would have let him out, and this is now this is an event involving an omission, failure to act, failure to unzip him at that point, before she went upstairs. The failure to act, the failure to unzip, which would have let him out, which would have created a situation that she believed was imminent bodily harm to herself. And I guess I'd get a couple of examples. Let's say that a police officer is called to a scene and the only thing he hears is there is a suspect and the suspect may be armed. So of course the officer pulls out his revolver and he's walking around. Well, then eventually he finds the suspect and the suspect reaches for his waist. The officer doesn't see the gun, but the officer sees the movement to the waist. The officer fires and shoots the suspect. The officer is justified because there's an immediate threat of harm. The officer has to react instinctively. There's no time to think. Similar to the actions that Sarah Boone had to take. Another example, you're in a bar with your buddies and you've had something to drink and another group has had something to drink and one of your buddies gets into an argument with one of the other party. And one of your friends, seeing that it's being escalated and the guy that's arguing with your buddy is aggressive, more aggressive than your buddy is. Your buddy's trying to settle the thing, but this other individual, maybe he's had too much to drink and he's more aggressive. So you go around behind this individual and before he's able to strike your buddy, you grab him. You lock him up. That's physical restraint to block an attack. Or you grab him by the neck and you choke him. Physical restraint to block an attack. That's what she was doing with the suitcase. If she let him out of the suitcase, she was going to be harmed based on him trying to get out with his hand, based on the threats he made while he had his hand out, and based on the threats he made while he had his hand inside just before she went upstairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Court's going to re-review all the case law that it's obtained in its research in this matter and come back with an oral ruling momentarily. Thank you.
So that's the same thing with the judge that the police officer just shot the judge in the chambers not too long ago. I mean, he got arrested immediately and was put in jail. You can't go around shooting people. You can't go around putting people in or making sure people can't get out of suitcases. They can't breathe. Why do you think they told us as a kid, don't get in suitcases, don't get in chests, things like that, because you might not be able to breathe. It's so dumb that these people don't realize this crap from being a kid. They do. She does. I can guarantee you she does. They always told us don't play hide and seek in suitcases, don't play hide and seek in chests. You can get locked in there and then you can't breathe and then you can, not be here no more. I don't know about everybody else, but I was taught that. So I don't know. And when he kept telling her he couldn't breathe, he couldn't breathe. And then she starts beating his hand with a baseball bat. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Hey there, everybody. Thank you so much for watching our Sarah Boone trial coverage. Now, guess what? This isn't Sarah Boone's first time interacting with the court system. In fact, she had been charged previously with domestic violence against the same man she's now on trial for killing. And how do I know this? Well, because we put Sarah Boone's name and location into the Truth Finder search bar, and we were able to find out all sorts of information. When we scrolled down to her criminal history, we found minor things like a speeding ticket, but also the much more severe charge of murder that she's now facing in an Orlando courtroom right now. And even if you don't work in true crime, you can find out all kinds of information on Truth Finder, like which sex offenders may live in your area. Even use Truth Finder. It's available about yourself online. Here's the main idea. It can be hard to know who to trust, and knowledge today is power. So right now, you can get 50% off of your first month of confidential background reports. Just go to truthfinder.com/LCLive and access information on almost anyone.
I gotta get a Q-tip. Yeah. This is crazy. I don't know. I didn't know that it would be this bad when she got on stand. When the prosecuting attorney's on her behind for real. Everything she's trying to portray, that she's a battered syndrome, battered girlfriend, all this, they won't let her because it shows that she's gotten arrested for harming him. So when she plays that, they tell her, no, you're not going to do that. And that's when they take the people out of court and all that, and so they can't hear it, and then they come back and they have to tell them, scratch everything you just heard. This is not a battered girlfriend type situation. I'm so blind that even on this 10-time thing, it's hard for me to put my mascara on. I'm so blind. It's bad. It's real bad for me. I end up making a mess. Ow, poke my eye again. Oh! So even though they've told her no several times, you cannot play the victim, that you're an abused girlfriend, she keeps doing it. So that's the problem that they're having right now. She keeps doing it. She won't stop doing it. So the prosecuting attorney's talking to the judge right now of how she keeps making it look like it's a battered girlfriend thing, and she feared her life and all this bullshit that wasn't true. Because she has been arrested for harming him. I can't believe she's even doing it. I figured they would shut her up a long time ago of doing all that. But they're trying to right now because it's what the judge is talking to them about, because she won't stop doing it. She don't care what she's told, she just keeps doing it. And that kind of goes to show her character as well. She don't care what she's told. So when he kept saying, please let me out the suitcase, she kept saying, you ain't getting out, and you can, stay in there forever, as far as I'm concerned. And then they said that she was the bully and the one trying to hurt him. So really, it's not looking real good on her end. She's doing exactly what they told her not to, and it's going to be bad for her. She's something else to keep doing that too. When she's been told over and over and over, this is not a battered girlfriend syndrome thing, and what you did was wrong. And quit bringing it up that he beat on you and stuff, because there's no there is no proof of that. It's all about her being arrested for beating him up. So that's why they're back there talking to the judge now, because she won't stop. She keeps doing it, thinking that thinking that it's funny or some shit. It's not funny. She's lying on that guy. They even said that she was the one that was battering him. She wouldn't stop battering him. So, yeah. Who's still in the room with me? I see 6 of you. Just let me know that you're still in the room, please. Just so I know who's in here with me. So, yeah. That's pretty much what happened. So now they're talking to the judge about it, and they're gonna have to throw all her testimony out because she acted like she was a battered girlfriend, and they told her not to do that because she's not a battered girlfriend. According to them, or according to the records, she's not. According to the records, she's not a battered girlfriend. I cannot wait. In a few days, my stuff all comes in and I can do my own hair. And it don't have to be ugly like this anymore. And it's going to actually look pretty when I'm done with it. And I cannot wait, because they really messed my hair up so bad. This is the worst I think my hair is, besides having to cut it all off one time because of her.
All right, we're back on the record. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, case number 2020 CF 2603. Appearances for the state.
Steve Ketchtor on behalf of the state.
William K. State.
Defense.
James Owens from Miss Boone.
Connie Henderson from Sarah Boone.
Kevin Beck on behalf of Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is currently seated at counsel's table, wearing the same clothing from this morning. The court has the opportunity to review the case law, review the arguments provided by both the state and the defense. The court finds that an overt act has been established. The case law is clear that a scintilla of the providing of an overt act is sufficient to provide the self-defense jury instruction. An overt act is not something that's specifically defined in Florida case law. It's something that's from the totality of the circumstances, seemingly under the authorities that the court has reviewed. As such, the court is going to find that under Holland, a overt act has been established and will allow the defense to proceed with evidence of reputation and specific instances of conduct and battered spouse evidence, so long as the necessary predicates are established for those items. Any questions or clarifications with regard to the court's order state? Defense.
I think it would help if we went through my exhibits involving the blow-up photographs and these other photographs, because I think some of it was contingent on the court's ruling. So I don't know if you want to try to deal with all of them one at a time in front of the jury, or whether we want to just talk about them ahead of time so that we know.
Are there any objections to those items?
It depends on the items. I was shown a lot of different things, including like a rap sheet
Something is wrong with my stuff.
the victim and the defendant stuff.
I've taken that.
I'm happy to take care of some of this stuff in advance.
I'd rather do it now
Yes.
so that it's not up, down, in and out with the jury.
I can't see anything.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Owens. What do we got?
Well,
Let me see if I can
I
leave
had
it
the
back.
court go ahead and mark everything. Some of it is impossible. Is this it here?
said that was L, correct?
Yes.
Again, assuming proper testimony, that the decedent was responsible for that in a criminal manner and they're not going to fiction.
No, I didn't. It wasn't working.
Okay.
Defense Exhibit M for identification. Two photographs. The first one is a photograph of the back porch. Sarah's on the back porch with her two dogs. The next photograph is a picture of one of her dogs on one of the outdoor couches.
Now I'm on the other side.
Because relevance is that he
Where?
would threaten the dogs with harm if she didn't comply with his directives, and he actually harmed the dogs, kicked the dogs
Oh, it's because I added myself.
as a threat to her.
Second,
So
hang on.
in order to do what? Use the dogs.
There we go. There we
She
go.
was in fear for their safety, so she will testify about this threat.
Relevancy objection is overruled.
Identification.
So the judge is going to let
Identification
her
number N, or letter N.
take
One
battered
photograph.
spouse whenever our
It's a
battered
photograph
girlfriend
of the living area, but also the stairs, and it shows that one of the allegations by the state is that the defendant...
Okay, no objection.
No objection to, assuming all the normal private stuff.
Judge, this is where he took a bath. It's 5 photographs where he took a bath to the TV, to Sarah's TV.
My understand, is this O?
Oh, it's showing pictures.
This is still O, correct?
Yes.
My understanding from the state is there's no objection so long as the foundation's established. Thank you.
We also intend to introduce the video.
He had-
It's a short video on
It's on
Sarah.
State's Exhibit 2, we're not objecting to that
Okay.
as long as the foundation is.
No objection so long as foundation is established.
P, identification, defense identification P, is 2 photographs of an incident in which
No objection as long as foundation is laid, etc.
All right, no objection so long as appropriate predicate is established.
Now, these next ones are individual photographs, not composites, but Q for identification is 1 photograph.
Is that part of the light stuff that we already done?
I was told this was separate from the burn. So this was, I think, a slap or something, or a hand to the leg, not for the burn.
Okay. No objection to foundation is laid.
With regard to Q, no objection so long as the appropriate foundation is laid.
Identification R.
No objection as long as foundation laid.
No objection to R so long as foundation is laid.
S.
Same for S.
Forget to leave my phone.
For
Get out of
identification.
here.
With regard to S, no objection so long as foundation is laid.
Same for T.
T.
No objection by the state so long as appropriate foundation is laid.
Same for U.
No objection from the state so long as appropriate foundation is laid for U. Same for V,
Same for W.
W,
Same for X.
X,
Same for Y.
Y.
That's normal.
It's one of the other, go ahead and say
A. Identification for A.
Were these the ones that we addressed pre-trial?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
that being demonstrative aid.
Okay.
terms of introducing this as an exhibit into evidence?
Duplicative, competitive.
Is it contained in K through Y?
Yes.
Then, is that accurate?
I believe so. I know the clerk probably doesn't want the blow up, but
If it's
it's going to be easier to handle, the clerk to handle the 8.5 by 11.
if it's, allow you to use it for demonstrative purposes, but I'm not going to accept it into evidence as it is duplicative of what's already in evidence as X. Defense pre-marked X.
And then identification C.
Same thing, same photographs.
That was it was one of the earlier ones we addressed. M or N was the staircase. Okay, for the same reasons, you can utilize it for demonstrative purposes, but it's duplicative as the exhibit itself will be entered into evidence, presumably.
D for identification.
Same thing, it's one of the photographs and it's on the state's digital exhibit.
Any disagreement that it's included in your pre-marked?
I agree.
Okay, then same ruling. It is duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes.
Identification E.
Same thing.
Is it included, sir, in K through Y?
Yes.
Then for the same reasons, it's duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes only.
F for identification.
Same thing.
It's included in your submittals?
Yes.
All right, same ruling. It's duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes, but it will not be accepted into evidence.
Identification G.
Same thing.
Is it included in your submittal, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, for the same reasons, I find it's duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes, but not seeking it into evidence.
H.
Same thing.
Yes.
Same ruling. You can use it for demonstrative purposes, but it will not be received into evidence by virtue of it being duplicative.
Identification I.
Same as T.
Any disagreement with that, sir?
No, sir.
All right, same ruling. Court finds it's duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes.
Identification. Madam Clerk.
Hang on, is that the house?
It's either Delta or B.
I think that's Bravo. Is it the defendant on the porch with the two dogs?
Yes.
That was pre-marked before trial as Bravo.
That a B.
That's a B.
Same.
Same.
It was as defense M. Relevancy objection is overruled, but I'm not going to allow the enlargement as it's duplicative, as the native photo is in evidence. But you can use it for demonstrative
Yeah, I
purposes.
probably want to use these in closing and just use this, use that for the...
However you see fit, sir.
Okay, this is not working today?
I can't speak to that. I don't know that anybody today has utilized it.
I know
But that's not connected to the overhead. That's separate and apart from the overhead.
Okay, okay. Judge, what other evidence do we have? Do we have body cams? Excuse me? Nothing else? Nothing else through Sarah. There may be some body cam footage to refresh memories. We've got two deputies out there.
Okay. All right. Any other exhibits with regard to Ms. Boone at this point in time, Mr. Owens?
No, sir.
State any reason why we cannot ask Ms. Owens or Mr. Owens to continue his inquiry of Ms. Boone and have her return to the witness stand. All right. Mr. Owens, anything else we need to discuss, sir?
One moment.
Sure.
Judge, I think we're ready.
Okay. If we can bring Ms. Boone back up to the witness stand. Once she is seated, we can bring back in our panel. Let's go ahead and stand and bring back in our panel.
Jury entering.
State, you recognize our jury?
Yes, sir.
Defense, you recognize our jury?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All can be seated. Members of the jury, again, you could, once seated, raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions during our last break. Record reflect all hands have been raised. Mr. Owens, you may continue with your inquiry, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Boone, so I think we left off. You had called your ex-husband?
Yes.
All right. After you called your ex-husband, what happened after that?
I ended up falling asleep.
Okay. Do you remember waking up the next morning?
Yes.
Did you sleep in?
Not intentionally.
Okay. But you didn't get up at 8 o'clock, did you?
No.
Did you wake up closer to noon?
I believe so, yes.
Did you check the time?
No.
Now, did you hear your phone ringing?
Yes, my phone was ringing.
And did you answer it right away?
No.
Do you know approximately how many times it rang before you answered it?
I believe the call was about 3 times.
Did you know who was calling?
I figured it was my ex-husband.
And why would he be calling?
To make sure that I was still on schedule to pick up our son.
At 3 that afternoon?
Correct.
And he goes to school there close by?
Yes.
All right. When you woke up, did you stay in bed for a while?
For a little while, yes.
All right, tell the jury what happened when you got up.
I knew it was my ex-husband calling repeatedly. I didn't answer right away because one of our problems is that he doesn't understand that I'm doing things around the apartment and looking for jobs and so on and so forth. So I inevitably just let it ring, and I laid in the bed, and I figured that George was downstairs either drinking or looking for jobs, or may have just left. And so eventually I decided to get out of the bed and start moving to go downstairs. I was motivated enough to go downstairs, and when I went downstairs it was very quiet. So I had the understanding, I believed that he had left. And
did you check to see if he was, where would he be looking for a job at?
Usually on the couch. He would have my son's laptop, and he and I, which we would share.
Y'all only have the son's laptop?
Correct.
And the TV was not working at this time?
The TV was not there.
Okay. So you thought he would be in the living room on the laptop?
Yes.
He was not there?
No.
Where else did you look for him?
I looked on the back porch. I went through the front door to see if my car was there, thinking maybe he had taken my car. I checked the bathroom, and when I was checking the bathroom, I saw the suitcase, and I remembered about the night prior, and I unzipped the suitcase and...
Let me stop you there. You said you were in the bathroom when you saw the suitcase, or coming out of the bathroom?
No, where our bathroom is, I would have to go to the bathroom here, and then when I turned around, I noticed the suitcase, and I remembered.
How did you feel when you saw the suitcase?
I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that before.
Describe it to the jury.
I guess it was... I was aghast, and I just can't describe the feeling.
Bless you.
It was terror to
Bless you.
a certain degree.
I'm sorry, say that again now.
It was terror to a certain degree. I just can't describe it in words, the feeling of remembering. And then he was still in there.
So what did you do?
I immediately unzipped the suitcase, and I was screaming, "George, George, George," and I was shaking him, and I pulled him out, and I stretched him out flat, and then I began instantly trying to do CPR, and then was trying to look for a pulse or a breath or just anything, and was just screaming his name over and over and over again, and come on, George, and I continued CPR, and I continued CPR, and he was gurgling, and...
What color was he?
What color was he? He was purple.
How could he be gurgling?
At some point, did you call your ex-husband?
Yes, when he started to gurgle, and I knew that my ex-husband is notorious for bringing my son over in very inopportune times when George is possibly drunk or doing things not appropriate for my son to see, and I just didn't know what to do. It was just a quick knee-jerk reaction. Brian was kind of my go-to person because of my family being deceased, and I don't have anyone else that I can call. And I just wanted to ensure that he would not bring my son over in the process of all of this at some point.
So you called him?
I called him.
Did you ask him what to do? Or did you just tell him to come over?
I just told him to come over.
Did you tell him that you felt like George was dead?
Yes, I did.
And how far? You said it's 5 minutes from house to house?
Yes.
Did you call him back?
Yes, because he was taking so long. It felt seconds were hours. Yes. I'm still doing CPR at the same time in the process of it. I'm doing CPR I don't know how many times.
Did he get there?
Yes.
Did he walk in?
Yes.
Did he walk out?
Yes.
What did he tell you to do?
Call 911.
What did you do?
I called 911.
Is that the recording we've heard here in this trial?
Yes.
Did you love George?
To this day.
Why did you love him?
George was very passionate. George was a very real person. George was nice to me on the good days. George complimented me. George and I were two bodies with one soul, he and I would always say. I don't believe that I've ever had a connection with anyone like I have with George.
Did you have that connection with your ex-husband?
I did not.
Was it even close?
No.
Right.
George has some good traits, doesn't he?
Very much.
Did George have some bad traits?
He did.
Did you drink too much?
I did.
Did George drink too much?
Yes.
Tell the jury about George's drinking.
If George was able to, he would drink from sun up to sundown. And me having my son and trying to work and maintain the home and just have a life, a normal life as best as I could, somehow that upset George. And because I had a certain dollar amount from my divorce settlement, at one point it was from wine we could afford vodka, so a lot of the times he would take my card, my debit card, and go buy the large, we call them handles, of vodka, which is the big bottle. And sometimes he would finish that all off on his own throughout an entire period of a day into an evening. That's honestly where I thought that he was going to be that morning when I came downstairs, because he's notorious for just automatically already being outside from drinking all the time.
You can't get out of the street.
All right. And you said you have an alcohol problem. George has an alcohol problem.
Yes.
How did George's drinking
Because he got his hand out.
adversely affect you?
Then I made sure he kept it out. So she knew
It would debilitate my ability to help him, that I was always trying to help him, because it would be one good day, a day of survival, and then it would be another day where I'm having to peel him off of me and call 911.
Why would he get that way? Tell us his pattern as it relates to drinking and then
Object.
Approach.
Just pretty sad he's not here to have his side. So everything's going off of whatever's happened before in the past, where he got arrested or where she got arrested. But nothing for his side, no family members for his side. Like, where's the people he worked with? I don't know. And he weighed like 100 pounds. But she hit him with the baseball bat when his arm was out. I think that's what she was going to say, he was doing drugs. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, she said he worked and then he didn't work. And then, so some people had to have worked with him, because she said he had a job at that time and he was off work that day. And they were doing painting and stuff like that to celebrate his day off. And she was keeping him occupied. And then for cleaning house like a child, he got a reward, which was wine. Sounds like to me she's a very controlling bitch. But that's my opinion, and I think she's a liar too. I don't think hardly anything happened the way she's saying that it actually did happen. I don't think it did. There's no way that she wouldn't have known that he was going to be expired whenever she went upstairs and went to bed and knew that he couldn't get out after she beat him so that he couldn't get out. And to know that a lot of this was done in front of her son also makes her a horrible mother. At first, his mom was standing behind her and didn't blame her. I don't know if that is still true or not. I would hope that maybe she found out the truth, or maybe she's here to find out the truth. Or maybe she kept trying to act like she was her friend to try to find out the truth. Maybe that's, a lot of people do that. I don't know. I just know that
Objections overruled for now.
I was told never get in a suitcase, never get into a test, because you could lock yourself in it and you could.
You're already together 3.5 years.
Yes.
Is there times when he would get to a state of intoxication where he would get violent against you?
Quite often.
Judge, can I approach the witness?
Well,
Yes.
what do you
As long as you show it to the state first, please.
What do you think his mom is thinking about this quite often? If she was a panic blackout, she would black out. But she wouldn't be able to recall too much for her trying to. Yeah, I know. She recalls way too much. Way
I'm
too
going
much.
to show you
You've been
defense
talking to the husband on the phone that
exhibit
night.
for identification.
Yes,
Kate,
husband.
it's 2 photographs. Could you look at those photographs and see if you recognize those?
I do.
Those 2 pictures of your body,
Yes.
did they show injuries to your body?
Yes.
Were those injuries caused by George Torres?
Yes.
Are those photographs a fair and accurate depiction of the injuries you sustained at the hands of George Torres?
On this occurrence, yes.
Do you remember this occurrence?
I don't. It was so often.
You don't remember a specific date,
I don't.
but you're sure that that's you?
Yes.
Is that the injuries that he... What's the injury to the rib cage?
I don't remember specifically. These may be the pictures. So, when we used to go over to his brother's house, one of his brothers and his...
Objection. Non-responsive.
Sustained.
You don't have to answer the question. Do you know what happened to... Did George cause these injuries?
Yes.
All right. Were y'all both drinking at that time?
I don't remember on this instance.
Judge, I'd like to move this exhibit into evidence.
Okay.
All right, what was pre-marked as P will be received into evidence without objection as Defense Exhibit 2.
Yeah, if he's still doing that, but I doubt it. I don't think he is.
I'm not sure I'm going to approve this.
But I don't know.
May I get into just a number, please? Thank you.
Mr. J, would you be so kind? Thank you.
And I need to ask permission.
It does me too.
Yes, sir. You may do so.
Even as kids, we were always told, don't get in things, you can die. We've always been told that.
Looks like I think there's a wheel on the top where you can use to... There you go.
Ms. Boone, is that you?
Yes.
Are those injuries to your arm?
Yes.
Were they caused by George Torres?
Yes.
And during the same incident, is this you?
Okay, redhead.
Is that an injury or bruise to your rib cage area
Yes.
and your arm?
Yes.
Q, see if you recognize that photograph.
Yes.
Is that your thigh?
Yes.
Okay, you remember this incident?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what happened?
I wanted to take my dogs for a walk and get off of the back porch.
Were y'all drinking?
Yes. And he was upset that I would rather go walk my dogs than sit there and continue to drink. So he slapped my thigh as hard as he possibly could and said that you're not going anywhere. And it was a good smack on my thigh.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the wound that you suffered as a result of George Torres slapping you on the thigh?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to offer Q in evidence.
No objection.
What was pre-marked as Q will be received into evidence without objection as defense 3. You may, sir.
And for the jury's sake, is this the photograph you just mentioned?
Yes.
I'm going to show you identification, defense identification S. See if you recognize that photograph.
I do.
Is that your hand?
Yes.
Is that your blood on your hand?
Yes, it is.
Is that you standing, looks like in a room with flip-flops?
This is in the kitchen at Brian's house.
Okay, what happened there?
So George was
I know.
very drunk, and I wanted to leave, and he's notorious for taking my car keys and putting them around his neck and my phone in his crotch area and telling me to come get them. And I really wanted to leave because of how drunk, and I knew the escalation of his anger. I didn't want to be there when it was at its peak. So I tried to take my keys from around him because he kept taunting me to take my keys, come get your keys. And so I attempted to go and get my keys. And so he ended up getting a butcher knife. And I had an opportunity to call Brian to come and help me, to please come pick me up, to come get me. And of course, he brings my son with him. And so I'm in the parking lot asking Brian to please help me get my car keys away from him, and there's neighbors, and it's a scene at this point. And George comes to the doorway of my townhome wielding the butcher knife, saying that, do I curse?
Yeah.
That no one's going to take her fucking keys, no one's going to fucking come into this house, and he's waving the butcher knife. And I walked up to him, and I just wanted to leave, and my little son, who was, I believe, 7 or 8 at the time, just is screaming, give mommy her keys, give mommy her keys, let her leave. Brian was even trying to negotiate with him, saying, please, you know she'll come back, just let her leave. So I went up to try and take the keys from him, and he was pulling on them, and I ended up pulling harder. And he pulled them back again to try to pull me in the house, and I pulled them even harder, and it ripped my finger. And at one point, I had lost the fingernail, and the tip of my pinky was severely gashed.
Well, Judge, I'd like to offer this to the evidence.
Okay.
What was it pre-marked as, Counselor?
Looks like S, but metaphorically.
What was pre-marked as defense S will be received into evidence without objection as defense 4.
Ms. Boone, for the jury's sake, is this the picture you're referring to? Is that the nail, or was it still on?
I believe so, yes.
Now I'm showing you a composite identification L, 2 photographs. Can you look at those photographs and tell the jury what they are?
I wanted to eat, and while he was drinking, went and made myself, as quickly as I possibly could, a microwave bowl of, I believe it was broccoli and cheddar soup. And I didn't get it out enough time, and he came up behind me and he slapped it out of my hand. And it was a 2nd-degree burn. I went to the hospital for it.
Are those fair and accurate depictions of the injury, of the burn to your thigh?
Yes.
We'd like to offer identification L into evidence.
No objection.
What was pre-marked as L will be received into evidence without objection as defense 5. Yes, sir.
You had to go to the hospital as a result of these injuries to your thigh?
Yes. It was extremely painful.
Is that a depiction of the burn?
Yes.
Is that your thigh?
It's my thigh, yes.
And your knee?
Yes.
Showing you the positive exhibit for identification. Okay, 4 photographs. Did you look at those, all 4, before commenting? This is a longer story, isn't it? Go ahead and help.
So, George stabbed me in my leg. I almost bled to death.
All right, well, let's go back and explain what led up to that.
I thought it would be nice to cook a nice steak dinner. We don't have 2 nickels to rub together, so I thought it would be special to make a steak dinner and make potato and go above the normal whatever's left over in the refrigerator. And so I spent a lot of time doing that, and George is drinking the entire time, and on the back porch.
You were drinking as well, were you not?
I was drinking. He was on the back porch while I was in the house and I was cooking. And it was one of those where maybe if I start making dinner now, it will be over at a particular time and we can go to bed at a reasonable time. And I even put it in the bedroom and had a movie set up for us to watch. So it would just kind of be dinner in bed. And then he came upstairs and saw that I had made the steak dinner, and I don't know how to describe how drunk he was, but it definitely was not George. And had him come lay on the bed, sit on the bed, and put the I got the dogs out, and I presented him with the steak dinner and sat down and was getting ready to start playing the movie, and he starts being very rude and cursing the steak and finding fault with it. And then I'm having to encourage him to eat. If you want me to cut it up for you, I will cut it up for you. Did you want some more sour cream for your potato? What can I do to make you happier? And then he started to pull on me and kept saying that, that I just want to fuck you on the steak and fuck you on the potatoes. And I took offense to that, and I kept trying to encourage him to eat. I started to eat.
Was this just him really drunk and saying nonsense?
I don't know why he was so angry that day. I don't know if it's because I got steak. I don't know. Most of the time I don't know the reason why. I couldn't take it anymore. Obviously, I was not going to be able to eat, so I started to crawl off of the bed to leave, just the bedroom. And he told me again that I'm not going anywhere, and he stabbed me in my leg, and it crunched. You could hear a noise that it made, and blood just started to come out of my leg, just like a fountain. So I got off of the bed. He's starting to freak out and grabbed me a towel. I got a wet towel, and I'm sitting here holding the towel, and it's increasingly becoming even more and more saturated by the minute. It's just minutes. So I'm going through towels and towels, and I said, George, I think I need to go to the hospital. This is not stopping to bleed. This is serious. And he got on his knees and begged me, please don't call the police. Please don't call the police. Please don't call the police. And inevitably, he went and got my car keys and put them around his neck again, and my cell phone. So I was not able to call anyone, and I wasn't able to leave in my car. So I figured I would just go downstairs, and I'm just going to go downstairs. And I had propped my foot up on the glass table that we had, and blood is just everywhere. Blood is everywhere. I can't keep up with the amount of blood, and I'm starting to feel very weak and really weird. And he comes downstairs, and he's still begging me, please don't call 911, please don't call 911. I kept telling him, there's something, this is serious, this is something. Because he knew that he would probably get arrested or something bad would happen to him. So I couldn't take him anymore. He was just all over me, and just, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding very badly, and he's having me try to console him. And I kept telling him, please, I need to call 911, please. And I said, okay, just give me a moment. And I crawled upstairs to my son's bathroom, which is the furthest bathroom away from everything. And I remember holding onto the sink, and I looked into the mirror, and my lips were blue. And I knew I needed help. I needed help. And he came upstairs looking frantic for me, calling my name, and then I turned to him and I said, please, I'm going to die. I've lost a lot of blood. There's something wrong. My lips are blue. Please, we don't have to call an ambulance. If you could just take me, I'll drive whatever I can do, please, to go to the hospital for this. And he said that before anything happens, I had to concoct a story in order for him to not be arrested or be in trouble when we did inevitably get to the hospital. So I'm sitting there with this blood-soaked towel with blue lips, trying to come up with a story of what I can tell them when I go down there so he's not in trouble, and telling him that it's okay. And I came up with the story of that we were sword fighting silly after drinking with our steak knives, and he accidentally punctured my leg. And from there...
How did you get to the hospital?
Originally, he told me to drive, and because of the amount of alcohol that he drank, and I couldn't. So he got into the driver's seat and drove me, and the entire time he's barking at me to make sure that I get the story straight. We're sword fighting, okay? We were drunk,
Did you go
being
to the
silly.
emergency room?
Yes.
All right, and did you get treated there?
Yes. I was bloody, and
all right, let me show you the photograph. Can I show you these?
Yes.
All right, is this a fair and accurate depiction of the injury to your leg?
Yes. I had to go to 2 different hospitals for it.
And you lied to medical personnel about how this happened?
Yes, they brought in sheriffs and everything.
Was it consistent with, they brought in sheriffs? Did you have to answer to the law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Did you stick with the story that you and George had agreed?
I did.
Judge, I'd like to offer this composite exhibit.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as K will be received into evidence without objection as Defendant 6. You may publish, sir.
Thank you. And is this you at the hospital?
Yes.
Is this the stab wound to your left?
Yes. Never.
Is this a close-up of the stab wound?
Yes.
And was that, did you hurt your foot?
No, due to the injury, I had other problems with the surgery.
Okay. But you eventually recovered?
Eventually, yes.
Do you have a scar to that effect?
I do. She bruises very easily,
Can you step down?
no matter what she does.
Mr. J? You may. There's a lock, sir. Out.
All right, I don't know how best to do this, Judge, because we've got this
Right.
ball.
Thank you, Pam.
Is this the injury here? Looks like there's an indention. All right, I'm showing you identification T. You recognize that photograph?
I do. Yes.
All right. Looks like you got an injury to your lip and to your face. Do you recall this event?
I was trying to sleep, and
Have y'all been drinking?
I'm not sure. I know that he had been drinking. This was one of the instances where I would go upstairs to try to go to sleep. And
But
he
y'all
was
drank
drinking.
together a lot, did you not?
Sometimes, yes.
But there were times where he wanted to stay up and continue to drink and you wanted to go to bed.
Many times, yes.
You were done, he was not.
Correct.
Was that one of these times?
Yes.
So tell us what happened.
I'm sleeping in the bed, sound asleep, and he comes into the room and grabs me by my hair a lot of the times, and from here he scratched me from trying to grab me, and then grabbed my hair and pulled me off of the bed, and then raked my face across the carpet. These are carpet burns.
To your lips?
Yes.
What about to the, looks like the eyebrow area?
That's from where from grabbing me, scratched me, and got a hold of me by my hair.
Why was he mad at you?
Because I wasn't downstairs with him
He wanted you to be drinking with him?
all the time.
All right, I'd like to introduce identification T and evidence.
What was pre-marked as T will be received into evidence without objection as Defense Exhibit 7.
Oh, permission, Paul.
You may, sir.
All right, you see the injury between the eyes and the injury to the lip,
Yes.
as you described?
Yes, and then the blood going down my eye, yes.
Showing you what has been marked state's exhibit for identification, or defense exhibit. You for identification?
Yes,
Can you describe that photograph?
I can.
Go ahead.
This was the first time that I ever called 911. George and I had gone to a bar across the street within walking distance, and at some point I asked a guy, or he asked me, somehow or another it was over a cigarette. And he left, and I didn't know where he went, and the bartender said, oh, he left. He took your car and he left. So,
Why would he do that?
well, I found out when I got home it was because I spoke to another man. And so I paid the tab and I walked home, and he's sitting on the back porch with the handle of vodka And I was walking on eggshells and terrified and kind of treaded lightly when I came in, and he acted all natural and fine. So I didn't know the reason why, that he had just gotten up and left with my car. So then he calls me a whore, and then he calls me a slut, and then he calls me a cunt, and gets up and pushes me. And he pushed me with both of his hands so hard that we have this little area where our washer and dryer is, and there are metal doors that are on it. And he pushed me into the metal door. And then I fell back, and he got his knees on top of me, on my arms here, so I was pinned down, and was starting to strangle me, and hit my head up against the metal closet over and over and over and over and over it again, and calling me a fucking whore, and you're such a slut, and fuck you, and everything. And my tongue was flopping out of my mouth, and I thought I was going to bite my tongue off, and because of the amount of noise I guess my head was making on the metal door, he slid me down and got back on me, and then started to strangle me again. And it was on, we have carpet, but it's like concrete, and I was able to get my arms out from underneath and grab his throat and get him off of me. So I got him off of me, and I pushed him off, and he came up and he goes, "You fucking bitch," and he stomped my face. And the next thing I know, I woke up. I obviously blacked out. I'm obviously, I guess, yes. And he was passed out on the floor, and I woke up frantic, looking for my phone, and I immediately called 911.
Okay. The police arrived on that incident?
Yes, they did.
Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the injury you sustained as a result of him kicking you?
Stomping, yes.
It was a stomp?
Stomp.
With his
All I
heel?
saw was his heel.
Would ask that this be identification you be admitted today.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as you will be received without objection is defense 8.
Was that the next day, or is that a few days later?
That's a couple of days later.
And that's the bruising from the kicking of the eye?
Yes.
Now, the police were called, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but let me go through these notes. Showing you identification V, defense. Do you recognize that? You have to speak up.
Yes.
Can you identify that picture?
Yes.
Is that your leg?
Yes.
And was like the injury to your knee?
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the injury you sustained to your knee?
Yes.
Do you remember how that happened?
Yes.
Did you tell the jury?
I was trying to get off of the back porch, and he grabbed me and pushed me, and it was a rock or a really sharp piece of mold from him grabbing me and pushing me onto the ground, and I guess I just happened to hit my knee just right on whatever it was.
Were y'all drinking?
Yes.
Why did he push you?
Because I wanted to get off of the back porch.
And he wanted to stay out there?
Yes.
He wanted you to be with him? What's the deal with him wanting to be with you all the time?
Insecurity, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Did you do your best to please him?
And then some, yes.
All right, I'd like to introduce an evidence identification here.
Okay.
What was pre-marked as V will be received into evidence without objection is defense 9.
Now, Ms. Boone, were you treated for this, or did you self-treat? Show the jury now.
No, that was just, I got The first aid kit that I have for my son, and I just cleaned it up.
You what?
I said I got the first aid kit that I had for my son, and I just cleaned it up and put a Band-Aid on it.
I know, Donna. I think a lot of these injuries are due to her own
So I'm
self while
showing
she was
you
drunk.
identification W.
But that's my
That's
thoughts.
identification. You recognize that photograph? What is that a photograph
I've
of?
been drunk and fell
This
down
is a
and
photograph of my
hurt
arm.
myself real bad.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of your arm with some type of injury?
Yes,
Do you
I
remember this
fell off the
event?
porch,
multiple times,
back
yes.
porch one time.
Well, I'm talking about this isolated
Missed
event
a
where this
step,
photograph was
fell,
taken, the injury you sustained.
Yep,
Who injured your arm?
George Torres.
Do you remember this event?
Yes.
Did you tell the jury about it?
This was one of the instances where I would try to pull away from him, and I don't know how my arm started to do this, but from him pulling from this way, how hard he would pull, with me trying to struggle to get away from him, it would leave these bloody under the skin splotches.
So he wouldn't hit you sometimes, he would just
Okay.
grab you and pull you.
Yes, from me trying to pull away from him, that's the point of it doing this, from me pulling away from him.
Now, this is one of the many times y'all were both intoxicated.
I mean, I can't say for sure that, yes, but whenever it would happen, yes, we would be drinking.
Identification W in evidence.
What was pre-marked as W will be received into evidence without objection as Defense Exhibit 10. You may, sir.
All right, it doesn't look like a wound or anything.
Objection to commentary.
Sustained.
Tell me, I'm sorry, tell me, you said it's just from the grip, him losing his grip?
Yes, it would be from me pulling away from him, and whatever under the skin it was that it was disturbed from the amount of pressure of him holding and then pulling from me would create those on my arms.
No, you get these spots, woman. You get these spots as you get older.
Judge, show you Defense Exhibit X for identification.
And especially if you're drinking, your blood's thinner. Your blood's thinner, you lose.
And what is that picture of?
This is a picture of my ear, side of my head.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction
Yes.
of the injury you sustained by George Torres?
Yes.
Do you remember this event?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
I at the time was not drinking alone.
On this event, you had not consumed any alcohol.
I mean, I may have earlier. This was another, I was in the bed trying to sleep.
Where was George?
Downstairs drinking.
All right, and so you were wanting to go to bed, and he wanted you to stay down there with him?
Yes, I was in the bed.
All right, tell the jury what happened on this event.
I believe this was the instant where I was in the bed and I used to barricade the door with our dresser.
Why didn't you just lock it?
All of the locks were broken in my home.
Why?
They were from George taking them in, including my son's. At one point I could seek refuge in my son's room, but he broke that one as well.
Well, tell me, explain how that happens. Tell the jury. We can't read your mind.
George wants me, which he has told me numerous times, that I am to be with him at all times and doesn't like to be apart from me or away from me. So whenever it was even just to go to the bathroom sometimes, he would go with me. And you have to understand, I have a 2-story, 900 square foot townhome, so there's not many places to go. So it just happened to be that upstairs or downstairs, or I'd be in a particular room or not. So inevitably.
Did you want some time away?
Yes, I did. Even if it were just him upstairs or me downstairs or vice versa. So I rarely got to sleep. This was one of the instances because I had barricaded the door with our, 200-pound dresser that we had. And then I had my nightstand barricaded up against the bed to where it was even more difficult from the prior times of him breaking in. And he would, I don't know how he would ever do it, but he would get himself in through the crack of the door that he would be able to wedge the dresser and the nightstand. And he pulled me out of the bed and told me I was going to die. And I believe it's this incident, and punched me and...
Punched you in the side of the head?
Yes, in my temple and everything.
Was it an open fist or a closed fist, or do you know?
It was fully closed.
Like identification X introduced in the evidence?
What was pre-marked as X will be received without objection as Defense Exhibit 11.
Part I'm showing you this exhibit. That's you?
Yeah.
Did you get any treatment for that? Medical treatment?
I know the police came, but I don't remember. I remember it hurt for a good solid 2 weeks after that.
Was this one of the incidents where the police were called?
Yes.
Now, do you recognize this photograph, which is
3.5 years.
identification Y?
Yes.
Was that the date of the incident? The date of this event?
No, it happened prior. But this picture that was taken of the...
This picture was taken, would have been taken February 24th of 2020?
Yes.
And do you recognize that as your close-up facial?
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of how your face looked on February 23rd of 2020?
Yes.
What's the significance of this picture?
Again, because I was sleeping, George was upset with me and came in with a metal curtain rod and bent it and snapped it in half and then crunched me in the forehead with it. And then started to beat the furniture that was in the bedroom. This is probably a good month before or after it had happened, before I really do believe that I should have gotten stitches, but I was not allowed to go to the hospital.
Judge, I'd like identification Y introduced into evidence.
It was a gash.
Not allowed.
What was pre-marked as Y will be received into evidence without objection as Defense 12.
Is that the same curtain rod that you mentioned in the 2-hour interrogation video?
Which they didn't take, yes.
This was photographs that were taken, I guess it would have been the crime scene? Was it the crime scene investigator that came out and took photographs?
I don't remember who it was, but yes, someone did on the day of the incident.
Was it different from the extraction, the phone extraction expert? Was it somebody different?
I think.
But this Boone right here?
Yes. And remember, that's a month later.
And then on that same date, same time, they took this photograph as well, which is identification R.
Yes.
All right, and what does that do?
I believe it's from holding the baseball bat, and
Is that an injury to your hand?
it's a bruise.
Was that taken February 23rd, 2020, when the investigators came out?
February 24th, I believe.
February 24th? Okay. I'd like to introduce identification on to the evidence.
What was entry marked as defense R will be received into evidence without objection as defense 13. Yes, sir.
This is not a great photograph, copy of the copy. But February 24th of 2020, is that what you were wearing? Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. And there's some discoloration up here of your palm. You see that?
I do.
Is that from you jabbing him with a baseball bat?
Sustained.
Do you know how you suffered that injury?
I believe it's from holding the baseball bat.
When you poked him with it?
Yes, trying to get his hand back in.
I'm showing you defense identification N. Just like 5 photographs. Can you look at those? See if you recognize them.
Yes.
And are those fair and accurate depictions?
Yes.
As a composite of the events that occurred in relation to George Torres and your TV?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Are those stills of a videotape that you took?
Yes.
And is that videotape, was it on your phone?
Yes.
So when law enforcement seized the phone, they would have had access to this video?
I believe so, yes.
And tell me about it.
Lucas liked to watch cartoons and play video games on the big screen, this is the big screen, and I would have to call Brian to come over sometimes to help me figure out the Fire Stick and whatever platform or whatever it was that Lucas was trying to view his shows and video games on. And I don't remember how George found out that Brian had come over. I believe because it was actually fixed and he knew that I didn't know how to do it. Found out that Brian had come over to fix it, and...
Was he jealous of Brian?
I don't know if he was jealous of Brian. I think that he had a fear that I somehow would go back to Brian. So I think by Brian helping me with things for Lucas, he just didn't want him to be interacting with me at all.
So Lucas wasn't over here this day, was he?
No.
Brian wasn't over here this day.
He may have been. I can't remember when he actually fixed the television for Lucas.
But y'all were drinking this day.
I know he was for a fact, yes.
Chances are you were.
Probably so, yes.
Okay.
I would agree.
So how did it end up badly?
He accused me of sucking Brian's dick and told me that he was going to break my face with the bat and that he was going to make me unrecognizable to my son with the bat. And then told me that he's going to destroy my fucking television, and then I was going to remove it from the apartment. And if I didn't, I was going to be, again, unrecognizable to my son.
So did he grab the bat?
Absolutely. He already had that in his hand, and he told me that I had to videotape it.
Did you videotape it voluntarily?
No.
All right. But there is a video, but I'm going to go ahead and ask Judge if I can introduce this identification of these 5 photographs into evidence.
Objection.
Is it O or N?
I have O being a composite with 5 photos, and not having a single photo.
We're moving in O. Okay. All right. What was pre-marked as O will be received into evidence without objection as defense 14.
These are some stills from the video. This was George that particular day holding the bat.
Yes, telling me that I'm going to take the television out once he destroys it.
He wanted you to take the television out?
That or I was going to help him, but either way I was taking it apart and removing it.
And what is this picture of?
The process of him destroying my television.
While you're videotaping?
Correct.
Is that the result?
No. After that, he ripped it off of the TV stand.
Did you later pass out?
Yep, like he usually does.
What's he drinking then?
I don't know. Vodka and something, I'm sure.
I'm showing you identification N. Did you recognize that?
It's my living room in the stairwell.
Were those, was that a photograph taken by a crime scene?
Correct.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of your living room and stairwell?
Yes.
And I'm going to try to introduce this as identification 9 as an exhibit.
No. It's pre-marked as M, correct?
It's got N.
N, I apologize. What was pre-marked as N will be received into evidence without objection as defendant's 15.
Can you tell us a little bit about this room?
This is my living room. This wall that we have over here with the hearts, that's where we would do all of our artwork. We were in the process of taking it down to add more, so he could continue to be entertained. The bookshelf over here is my son's bookshelf with all of his toys and little guns and musical instruments. He's got his little karaoke machine down here, his guitar. The stand right here with the red bucket on it, that was the television stand. And then my back porch area and the dog bed here.
And it looks like in front of the bookshelf at the foot of the stairs is that a doggy?
It's a baby gate, but my dogs would wander upstairs sometimes and go to the bathroom sometimes when we couldn't get them out. So I would, at nighttime, or whenever we weren't home, make sure that they didn't go upstairs. And plus, Penny was blind.
There's an allegation that you pushed George down the stairs?
Apparently.
Or got him in a suitcase upstairs and pushed him down the stairs?
Supposedly.
Did that occur?
Absolutely not.
Is that bookshelf disturbed in any way?
No, nor the plant next to it.
I'm showing you composite, 2 photographs, identification M. Did you look at those 2 and see if you recognize them?
Yes, this is me sitting on the back porch with my dogs. And as you can see that we are both drinking.
All right, who's taking the picture?
I'm guessing George is, or maybe it's one that Lucas, no, Lucas wasn't over here, so it had to be George.
How can you tell y'all are drinking?
Because there's a cup here and then he has a beer.
All right. And there's two dogs. There's one sitting next to you. Who's that?
That's Penny. She's the blind dog. I used to have to pick her up to put her somewhere so she would stay there because she was unfamiliar with the area, especially since we moved from my marital home to the townhome. So most of the time Penny would be close or next to me.
Who's next to the film?
This is little guard dog Tess. She was the deaf dog. And this is the fence here.
Well, I'll show them that.
Okay. But this is Tess, and then this is deaf, blind. Penny and Tess.
All right, and then the second one.
This is Tess on the back porch, taking a nap. She was never far from me.
All right, when George was sober, how did he treat the dogs?
Nice. I don't know if he was a pet person, but I mean he was nice. If I needed him to feed them, he would feed them.
Were there times when George was drinking where he would threaten to harm the dogs?
All the time.
You're going to have to tell the jury.
One of the worst threats was Penny being blind. He would actually leave the gate open in the back. He wouldn't threaten me to do it. He would actually do it on nights that I had to go up to sleep or I fled the night before or something. And would tell me that he hoped that I would come back and find her bloated body dead in the pond across the way from our townhome. And Tess was notorious if I wasn't there to go look for me, and would say that he would hope that I would have to scrape up her dead body from the street that was out in front of our apartment complex.
Why was George upset with you? Why would he threaten to harm the dog?
Anything that he could get to try to have some type of hold over me.
Control?
And he knew I loved my dogs very much, especially that they were handicapped.
Were they afraid of him?
Yes. Penny would hear his voice and instantly go underneath the dining room table that we had. Tess was always fractious and very, very quick with his movements, but she was never far away. They never showed their teeth. They never growled. Tess would occasionally bark, but it was very rare. And he used to kick them and just...
For what reason would he kick them?
Penny would try to find me because she's blind.
Speculating in the mind of the dog.
Sustained.
I'd like to move identification M and evidence.
Any objection? Was pre-marked as M will be received into evidence without objection as defense 16.
Can you describe this for the jury?
This is again is our back porch, and this is the fence that I made for the dogs to have a little bit extra space. Penny is next to me. She's the blind dog, and then Tess is down here guarding the gate.
Are these fake rabbits? Is that?
Yes. I used to call my son when he was a baby. He was my bunny rabbit.
Overruled.
He was my bunny rabbit, so I used to collect bunny rabbits, and so I have rabbits here and there throughout my house and in my little garden area.
All right, this is the alcohol y'all are consuming?
Yes.
And this is a close-up of which one?
This is Tess. She's the deaf dog.
How old were these dogs at that time, 2020?
Gosh, maybe 9, maybe 10.
Yes.
I don't know, what do you all think about her dogs and how she says that he wanted to off her dogs or hurt her dogs? What do you think about that? You believe her? Since her dogs are 9 years old? She just looks evil. I'm sorry, but she just looks evil. And then add alcohol on top of it and see what kind of person you get. I don't think you'll get the same person that's sitting in this courtroom right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't drugs involved as well, because she's been in jail for almost 4 years and she's gained all that weight from just not drinking. I don't believe it. Because
All right, members of the jury, it's 4:03. By show of hands, would you like to take an afternoon break at this point in time? Okay, court sees no hands. We may have to work also a little bit past 5 o'clock, maybe going to between 5:45 and 6 this evening. I know juror third from the right, you may have to make a phone call as to that. Does anyone have any concerns about working a little bit later today till 6 o'clock? If you have those concerns, please raise your hand at this time. All right, court sees no hands. Ma'am, are you in a position to step out to see if you can get assistance with childcare, or is that not an option for today?
I'm actually all set for today. She's already taken them up.
You are? Okay. All right. Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. With that, Mr. Owens, you may continue. Yes, sir.
Judge wanted a break.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, juror fifth from the right.
Are we going to get a break before the 5:45 mark? Because if not, then yes, I would like a break now.
Then I tell you what, let's go ahead and take it at this time. We'll give you all a 15-minute recess. It's 4:04. Hang on, don't leave yet. I got to tell you a couple things. It's 4:04. I'll see you back here at 4:20. Same instruction as before. Please don't conduct any independent investigation or research as the person, places, things, or charge involved, and don't have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Thank you very much.
Jury exiting.
Y'all can be seated. Thank you. If Ms. Boone needs to use the facilities, we might as well take advantage of that at this time. All right, court will be in recess till 4:20. Thank you.
All right, so I don't know, very strange how everything is this guy's fault, right? But they were both drinking every day for 3.5 years. And I am like you, Donna, I don't have the sympathy for her. Right, because if he did those things to her dogs and threatened them and she kept him around, then that's on her. That's her own stupidity. But she should have let him, like she was sitting there saying, no, this is really bad, this is really bad, I think I'm gonna, expire. He made sure that he got her to the hospital. She made sure not to unzip that suitcase, and that's the difference, and that's why we're here right now, is because of that bullcrap right there. That's why we're here right now, is because of that. She didn't want him to go too far, but she went too far. And now we're all supposed to sit here and be like, oh, she's a battered girlfriend. oh, we gotta feel sorry for her. And this is the thing. I'm surprised that the judge is allowing this to happen because, right, when you reward bad behaviors, you're reinforcing it. Exactly. So I know that the other 7 or 8 lawyers did not want to go this route because there was proof out there that the prosecuting attorney could rip her apart. Right now, the defense is who she's talking to, her attorney. She ain't got to the prosecuting attorneys to rip all her stories apart. So, right now it's still defense. So she's comfortable. She's smiling. Oh, he came and ripped me by my hair and threw me out and rug burned me and all these things that most of us still to this day, 5, 6 years ago, we can't even remember. We can remember bits and pieces of it, but not so vivid like she is portraying it to be right now. It's just not. It's just not. So, I don't know. I know that the other attorneys did not want to go this way because the prosecuting attorneys had too much evidence that this was not the way to go. So this attorney went ahead and went this way, and have the judge not been any objection? No, there hasn't been any objections, except at first. They tried to get the judge not to go this way, and the judge said, no, we're going to go this way. So they said, okay, well, cross-examination, we will prove that she's lying. So that's why they went back in the judge's chambers. They tried to get her not to, but she was gun-ho about it. And that's why she kept this attorney, because this is what she wanted. She wanted to be the battered girlfriend. So the thing is, prosecuting attorney's going to tear her up one side and down the other because, as I told you, when she was beating on him through the suitcase, she's got bruises all over her from her own self. So therefore, she cannot say that every single bruise on her face, on her body, on her everything was him. She just can't say it. So when the prosecuting attorney comes and it's their turn, which probably won't be until tomorrow, that's when it's going to get very interesting. Right now, it's her side. It's the defense side. Poor, poor, pitiful her. If the prosecution is not objecting to anything, that is not a good sign for the defense. Exactly. Well, they did it at the very beginning, and they told the judge, she don't want to go this route because we will, we have everything that she's lying. And the judge said, nope, we're going to go this route. So they're going to go this route, and then whenever it's the prosecuting attorney, they're going to tear her a new one. Especially when when the defense was talking about how, the bruising of her hurting herself while she was beating on him through the suitcase, and how she got bruises on her arm from that. That's part of it. It shows she bruises very easily, and yeah, there's a lot going to happen. That the other defense attorneys did not want to do this, and she fired them because this is the way she wanted to go. And I would say she wanted to go this way because of a lot of women that get off because of the battered, girlfriend syndrome, being beat and stuff like that, and that's the way she wanted to go. But just wait till the prosecuting attorney gets a hold of her. It'll be a whole different ball game at that point. She'll be wishing she didn't go this route. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I believe that that's why the other attorneys said no and she fired them. Because they saw what the prosecuting attorney had, and they were like, no, we're going to definitely lose if we do this. And she was like, you're fired. So I believe in victims, and I believe when people say that they were abused and this, that, and the third, but I don't believe someone who most of the time was drunk out of their mind, probably on substance besides alcohol, and you're going to tell me you remember every little detail. It doesn't make any sense, because people even get blacked out drunk and they don't remember. They don't remember anything they did. It don't matter if it was the craziest thing in the world. They don't remember. And when you got two toxic people, especially when drinking, they should have just hung it up 3 years ago, 3 years prior to being, after 6 months of being together and them seeing that they can't drink together, they should have just hung it up. But I don't know. He was a very little guy. I mean, little guy. So, I don't know. I think the judge has given her a fair trial. So ahead of can't come crying, she didn't. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I think, yeah, he's, even though the prosecuting attorney said, Judge, we have all this showing that she's lying and stuff, I think he's doing what you're talking about, giving her the fair trial that she better play victim as much as she can on that stand. Because when it comes prosecution to tear her up, it's going to be a whole different thing. I don't even think, though, that prosecution is going to be happening today. I think today's all defense. They do want this case over with. That's why they tried to settle with her, but that wasn't good enough. She's already served 4 years, like, in the jail at that. In the worst place you could serve. And just from her behavior, just from the way she's acted, didn't you see her attack her other attorney? Did you see when they were in court, she attacked her other attorney? She legitimately attacked him in the courtroom. So you're not going to tell me she's all innocent of laying hands on people. Because she's not innocent. You didn't know? Oh, yeah. One of her attorneys, she attacked him. I'll see if I can find it. My computer is so slow on this new live stream thing. I'm only using it until my cancellation is over. Oh shit, it says, text and videos from Sarah Boone's phone says, I'll get rid of him. Trying to see where she attacked her attorney. So Sarah Boone's 8th lawyer begs to quit ahead of suitcase murder trial 4 months ago. So this is the 9th attorney. The 9th. 1 month ago. The 9th attorney. She's trying to claim that this is self-defense now. I'm trying to find it where she attacked the... Oh, okay, so during the interrogation, she screams at the police and she says, I didn't kill him. Yeah, so this is her 9th attorney. Well, I'm looking, but it's all the stuff right now. Her interrogation, I've never seen it. We may have to go over that. I never seen her interrogation. Yeah, I don't know about her jail calls. I don't think phone calls from prison has them. I'm trying to look through here and see if there's anything that we can watch that... Here is the body cam video that they showed in court, I guess yesterday. I didn't get to see it because I didn't watch all of it, so we can watch the body cam footage of the day that she called them. So hang on just a second, let me... So, where's it at?
Hello there. Hi. You live here? Yes. Okay, I'll talk to you guys get some information. I know. The property manager, I don't know if I should go tell him really quick, or so he doesn't go on? Where is he at? He walked that way. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that for you, okay? I had a cigarette, Lou. Okay, wait 1 second, okay? I really need something to drink. Okay, well, I got my Dr. Pepper on the counter. Okay, okay, give me 1 second. It's Armando. At the time, that you called it? Is that the time you called it? Okay, perfect. County 220. 220, go ahead. 707 at 1307. Yeah, 707. Can I have your Dr. Pepper, please? You can't go back inside. What's going on? Who is he to you? Boyfriend? Yes, for like 3.5 years. What happened? He and I, we drank last night and had a pool. Can you pass this to the, around to the FBI stuff? They need to sign that for sure. Yeah, with me. Oh, they're not even ready here. No. Each of them has to, this might be a real thing. So each of them has to tell their name. Normally we always, I just put everybody. What's going on? I just got here to fill me in. No problem. Like, you know, we put a puzzle together, we can do some artwork together. You were putting a puzzle together? Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to take stuff off the wall to make new art kind of there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking, we had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So then it's like, we decided to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So he gets in the suitcase. Okay. Who is that? That's my ex-husband. My former husband. Hi. You live here with you guys? No. I called him over here. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Here, let's talk inside it, okay? I called you guys. I tried to get the problem is I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it before you called. Yeah. 1 o'clock right now. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. That's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys. Did he be here before the fire department got here? Who? Your husband? Or your ex-husband? Yes. Okay. Where'd you live at? Right down the street. Okay. So you were playing, and who did come up there? I did, but then I fell asleep. Okay. You're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. I don't know if he's some kid or like having an aneurysm or a heart attack or what. What kind of medical conditions did he have? None that I know of. Nothing that you know of. None that I know of. No. Okay. All we had was a bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine. Okay. Doing puzzle artwork. Then we decided to play hide and seek. That's all that happened. Okay. So I moved together. I don't want it there, but I don't know what happened. So how long were you doing CPR on him prior to you calling 911? You tried that all morning? Yes. Okay. And then I called him while I was
What time did you start probably? You know what ballpark? Here, let me fill this at the end, okay?
Please, may I have my Dr. Pepper? I am still cutting out right now.
Ma'am, and you can't talk to him until we get down with paper, okay?
Just don't leave, okay, Ryan?
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I know.
Do me a favor. Stand over there by that car. Give me 1 second. There's a dog in there? Yeah. You want to help clear the back bedrooms real quick? Just make sure there's nobody else in here?
Was he here by himself?
Nope, he was here with the girlfriend, and that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He's going to see you. They were playing hide and go. This is what she said. She's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and start making phone. Yes. Hey, come on, let's go outside. Come on.
Good boy.
What's wrong?
You think about it, then?
But just want to make sure. I put my glove on. Touch anything.
Orange County.
Yes, Doctor.
Put it over here. Let me check this closet. So garage
have to set up a crime scene now?
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Just give us a second, okay? It's on the camera. It's on the camera. I can't move anything from out of the house. Here, I want you to sit down, because I don't want you passing out. This is probably a lot for you to deal with, right? I don't water. I can get you some water, okay? Just, I want you not on your feet, because I don't want you passing out. I need to use my water. Okay, I'll get some for you.
Keep trying to put on it.
Your Honor, request permission to publish States 5.
You may proceed.
Should be back by now. Let me check. Nope, they're not back yet.
Yes. Thought it would be funny a little bit.
It was. We both were laughing about it.
Okay.
And then I fell asleep
Where did you fall asleep at?
upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase gone.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so you lied because you said on stand that you called your ex-husband and then you beat the other guy with the bat because his hand was sticking out and he was trying to get out because he couldn't breathe. So you beat him back in there and turned it over to where he couldn't get it unzipped if he got his hand back out. And then you went upstairs and you called your ex-husband and talked to him on the phone before you went to bed. That's your words, not mine.
you came back downstairs.
This morning, or this afternoon, yes, when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish.
Nothing
I was
happened to the
awake,
dogs.
but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. He can tell you there's a lot of things that I/Leah think of.
Oh, okay, hold up.
But
There's a lot of things she doesn't remember. She has a bad memory. So her having a bad memory, it's really crazy what great memories she has now recalled 4 years later of all the times that this man supposedly abused her.
all that good stuff. So I just totally
Did you
forgot.
begin to do CPR on him?
Yes. Yes.
About what
I don't
time
know.
when did you start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon because
Yes, ma'am.
I was awake. But then I finally decided to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is. And I was like, do I forgot he was in the suitcase? And he wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. So I unzipped it, took him out and started doing CPR on him. He was on his way up here. I called you when he got here.
Once he got here, you called
Yes.
us? Okay.
And he, like, air was coming out and he was gurgling, but
Oh, air was coming out and he was gurgling, so you could have called 911 then.
You had to do CPR, you were doing that on your own?
yes.
Okay.
And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing
And
it.
he's got no medical, he doesn't take any
I
medication?
don't know. Like, I don't know medical wise. Like, what, I know he doesn't take any medications whatsoever.
Okay.
The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol had to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine.
Okay, all right. Here, I want you to sit back down, because I don't want
Can I
you...
have one more sip of water?
Yeah, go on.
Denver, 29 residential, audible, 130, guys, they die.
I'll do what I can to get you a cup, because I don't want you to have to keep doing that.
So first of all, she starts off with she can't remember. She has a bad memory.
Like right there. Sit right here, don't talk to the ex-husband right
Oh, I
now.
won't, I won't. Can I have a cigarette, please?
Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house.
It's on the back porch.
Nope, all of it, secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these extra packs from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay?
Just cut, please.
Okay. I don't want you on your feet. Yes, you put him on the second. He came back in?
Yeah,
So there's
probably
no,
from the
no
store.
sense then. Corporal, I can give you a rundown? She's sitting on the curb at the lady down. I was getting ready to call you guys. Yeah. Want to talk over here?
Oh, hold on. We got to switch back. Hang on. They're back in trial. Undo it. Play. Hang on, my thing's acting crazy. Unmute.
All right, we're back on the record, case number 2020.
Shit. My thing's acting crazy.
Yes.
And do you recall making any other statements to law enforcement? To George?
That was the first time ever that I actually officially fought back.
Did you tell the officer that you were fighting back?
Yes, because I was in complete shock that I was getting arrested because of it.
That's not what was said, but okay. What is it doing now?
Now, on the 2-minute video, the suitcase video, you mentioned to him, I think you said something, I can't breathe. He said, I can't breathe, and you said, that's how I feel when you're choking me. Were you referring to an isolated incident of the night before, 2 nights before, or whatever, or were you referring to in general?
In general, the more than 2 or 3, 4 times that he had done it.
Okay. And then the part about cheating, he didn't physically cheat on you.
No, he did not.
Okay. And just, I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but what are you referring to there?
George was, I believe, addicted to pornography, and a lot of that would be found on my phone from him supposedly wanting to call up job interviews. And as a solution, I sat him down and I explained to him, to me, that's you visualizing yourself with someone else, or at least having a pleasurable moment with someone else or watching other people. And to me, I told him that I considered that cheating on me.
Okay. And so he would download that on your phone?
Yes.
Why did you stay with him?
As
You got to tell the jury.
As anyone who has ever been in love, or when you love someone, or primarily someone or something, you go above and beyond, and you tolerate and you endure and you persevere, and you try to make that person as spectacular as you possibly can, no matter the sacrifice that you may have to go through to serve someone else in a positive light, so they can be better people for themselves, and to just make them a happier person and love Love is very strong and love is very deep, and love, I believe, is not fully understood in a lot of ways for how different people react to it. And I very much, deeply, and passionately love George. I love him to this day.
Did you not want to be alone?
At the beginning, through my divorce, it was very nice to have him around, and he was a man to me. And
A man?
I felt protected, and he's very nice. And as lame as it sounds, he used to compliment me, and it made my day. So, yes.
During that period of time, when you first started seeing George, would it be fair to say that you had low self-esteem?
Yes.
Now, we talked about this previous arrest where you told the officer you were fighting back and you got arrested. Now, I want to talk about your conversations with law enforcement, but first I want to ask you, why did you go to the police station that day when you were interrogated there? We saw the 2-hour video. Tell the jury.
The day of the incident, the detective Copsell gave me her business card with her personal cell phone number on it and said if I happened to remember anything or anything that I would like to add to the day for me to not hesitate to give her a call. So throughout the rest of the evening, something was off. I didn't feel comfortable with what she told me and how she told it to me.
How long were you at the scene?
Gosh, all day. From the moment that they were there to the moment that the coroner's van drove off.
All right, when it ended, did you stay in your home?
No, I raced inside and collected some pajamas and a toothbrush, and I went over to where my son was at my ex-husband's house.
Did you take the dogs?
I didn't even feed them. It was so fast.
All right, and then once you got over to your ex-husband's, what happened? Is it released to Detective Copsell?
Something just wasn't sitting right with me, and I had a suspicion that she just wasn't being honest with me, so I took it upon myself.
Sustained.
So you called her. Tell us about that.
I called her and I told her that I felt that she was being dishonest with me. She originally had told me that due to her being pregnant, it would just be a lot easier for her to have me come down to the station to pick up my phone. The original plan was for she and Detective Lowen to return the phone to my apartment. But she said that it would be a lot easier for me to just come down and pick it up because I remember when I was pregnant. That's what she said. You remember when you were pregnant. So I said, I feel that you're tricking me, and I feel that you're being about something, and I don't believe that you're being honest with me. And I said, regardless, I'm still going to come.
Sustained.
So you agreed to come, but you understood it was to get your phone?
Correct.
All right, you came that afternoon to the station?
I did.
You cannot
And the
pick
original
up
agreement was they
anything
were to come to you?
like that.
All right. When you got to the station, what happened?
I thought I was just going to be picking up my phone. My car was there. I had everything in my car. It was just a regular, I'm just going to go in, maybe sign something and pick up my phone. And there's people that are over here at the windows, and I thought that I was supposed to go over there to get my phone. And Detective Lowen came down and said that my phone was upstairs. So if I would just follow him upstairs, that's where my phone was. And then I was taken into I guess it was an interrogation room, and they told me to sit down, and that then I guess the interview or interrogation began, and I just simply kept getting my phone.
Sarah, tell the jury why.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, I love you. Angels, have a fantastic evening. I put the link in here for you to go watch it real quick. I have to prepare dinner. Yeah, nobody can ever pick up anything like that. Um, you cannot pick up nothing like that when it has to do with stuff like that. You can't. She lied to the police and everything else. You just cannot pick up stuff like that. But anyway, I'm gonna go. You guys all go there if you want to watch the rest of it because she even lied to the police. All right, I'm out.